What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Call to Action Network on Chill to Action. Thank you so much for everyone hanging out with us inside of the chat. I know it's a little late, but here we go. We got it. We had a good time back there for a little bit, but thank you so much to everyone hanging out. Yes, it is. Tech difficulties are very much.
It's past Jader's bedtime. Sorry, Jader.
Sorry.
So sorry, Gator. So sorry. As always, y'all, you know me. It's your girl, Danny Joy, here hanging out with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denizio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We got it going. Can I tell you that I really love hearing that David B music every week? Just start jamming. It's like 30 seconds each time, but it gets me in the mood. If you're ready to go, I'm happy to be here.
I'm just assuming that we're about to talk like it's like a sex line phone call thing where it's like people are going to call in with like Dr. Drew used to do before he became crazy. Like they call in with their problems. We're like, oh yeah, because that's what like that theme music was like. Right? Oh yeah.
Well, we have.
Let me tell you about Crevassier.
That does sound very good for season 3. Absolutely 100%. And y'all, you can see a very familiar face on our screen as always. The beautiful Miss Kelsey Kirkland.
Excited for this episode. I'm glad I get to be on screen for the whole thing. I love being behind the scenes, but I'm extra excited to be on screen today.
Yes. We wanted to give Kelsey some more love, so we definitely brought her out. It absolutely was not just because some of us are having tech issues. It's not what it is at all. We wanted to give Kelsey some love because she is the best. And also, y'all, as you can see on the fourth end of this screen, we have the one, the only, the Barbarian, and as always, Elvis, Mr. Craig Gaynier.
Hello.
Elvis is here to say a few words and spread some cheer. No, I'm happy to be on your show. Thank you guys for having me. I like that this show encourages me to drink.
Definitely.
These days I get more discouragement from drinking, so I'm glad I got the encouragement.
We're always a very encouraging podcast. That's one thing we've definitely been all of our times.
If there's one thing Call to Action has done, it has enabled my drinking. So appreciate it, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this Monday on Chill to Action. We really do appreciate it. And as always, as usual, the first question that we like to ask all of our guests is why Schmoedown? What got you involved in the Schmoedown? And what made you want to decide to compete inside of movie trivia?
I mean, I've been a trivia player for many years, and I've loved movies for many years. And, I was friends with Ethan Irwin, everyone knows. And, he and I were talking about the Schmoedown at a birthday party once. And shortly thereafter, I caught an episode with Liz Shannon Miller's debut match because, I'm familiar with, I know Liz outside. We're friendly friends, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, point is I watched Liz's match and I felt I was very competitive in it. And so in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, and I also knew Christian. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, I feel like I'd do really good at this, but maybe this is just like, only for like, professionals, like, Ethan's a producer and Liz was like, writes for IndieWire. It's like, okay, well, maybe this is like, so I just kind of sat back, didn't say anything. And then around September, Christian posted on his personal Facebook asking if anyone knew anyone that knew movie trivia. I was like, well, I am. And then he's like, all right, come on. He's like, you're in. So it's I know for in Hollywood, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But oftentimes it's also who you know and what you know. But I've learned since that there's people that have been trying for years to get into the league and didn't. So I feel somewhat guilty when I was just like, yeah, I told Christian I wanted to come in, so he said okay. the short stories. Like Christian, like, is anyone good at movie trivia? I said I am. He said, okay, you're in the league. So
there you go.
But I've known Christian since like 2005 or whatnot. So it's he knew what I could bring to the league. So
well, he had definitely talked about it before. He talked to you up before he even got on screen. Now you said you saw Liz Shannon Miller's match. Did you watch any of their matches before? Go backwards in time, like when you knew you were going to get involved and check out some of their competition, see how well you did against them before you decided to go in, or did you say,
Well, I mean, after Christian told me I was in, I started watching the matches. Then I came in for a live taping, and so at this point, I've probably watched every match ever at least once in the last couple of seasons, multiple times. And it's I used to have a very long commute for work, so the commute was spent watching episodes. And sometimes just if I had some mind-numbingly boring tasks to do during the day at work, I just run through some episodes and over the headset while I was, at work. And it's, the actual trivia portion of the episodes is like maybe 20 minutes out of the full hour, but it's a lot easier to get through a lot more quickly when you only listen to the questions. That being said, thanks, Jenner. Jenner over here, he's like, I had to win a golden ticket, which was actually my girlfriend's, and then I had to beat like 5 other competitors, and I was like, oh yeah, I just told Christian I wanted to do it. He said, okay. So.
hey, man, that's how the world works sometimes, unfortunately.
You do what you got to do.
Oh, you just mentioned actually an interesting point is that you watch. It's 40 minutes of the or whatever of the actual show is trivia. 20 minutes is actually of the trivia. So were you into the idea of the storyline aspect? You're getting into the wrestling side because you're a wrestling fan. I'm
a big wrestling fan. And Christian actually knew this about me as well going in. It's something we talked about over the years. So I think that's part of the reason why as soon as I expressed interest, he's like, oh yeah, dude, you're in. And he kind of told my first day when I just kind of showed up for a taping, he told me what character he had in mind for me. He told me kind of like what kind of wrestlers to draw for inspiration. So it's pardon?
Did he tell you which one did he tell you to draw from?
Well, I don't want to give that away. I don't want people to because I don't do a direct imitation of someone, but I feel like there's a professional wrestler that I am the Schmoedown's version of blank, but that's what I go for.
Okay.
I used to say Roka was the Schmoedown's version of Chris Jericho, but now I guess Chris Jericho is the Schmoedown's version of Chris Jericho.
Right.
I guess at least Roka out of a comparison. So
I have to find different one for him. I don't know who that would be. This is The Rock, but I don't see The Rock as Roka at all. It's just not his.
No. I wish that I was more into wrestling so I could figure out the perfect comparison for John Roka. Because
Kurt Angle would be another good comparison.
I can say that. I can definitely see a little bit of that.
And Big Show. Well, and what I'm looking at when I talk about it is like professional wrestlers who are so good at the mic work that they can be face or heel, and they could change it in the middle of a scene, and the audience is with them just the whole way through, and are also good at the competition. Because that's what Roka's a master of the character and a master of the game. It's really astounding.
It's always the best part. You have to have both to really be a superstar, to be honest, in the league.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we go for the Finstock Exchange. We got the great Kanye West sending over some Wi-Fi money. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry. You're always a good guy that way.
What? Did you say Kanye West?
That's what his name is. In the
you don't know the Larry's name's Kanye West?
I don't know this, and I feel bad that I don't know this now because Paul does.
You're a bad friend to Larry, so.
I am a friend of Larry. I love Larry.
I said a bad friend to Larry.
Bad friend to Larry.
I am obviously a bad friend of Larry's.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some Wi-Fi issues over there, I see.
I love that. Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's what I don't know. The Nasser.
Oh, that's my buddy Sharif. He's do you know what 23-17-46-11 is?
It sounds familiar, but I'm blanking on it.
Me too.
So it's actually tied to, well, in some way tied to my shirt here. So my shirt I wore is my Innergeekdom combo shirt. It's a combination of Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Wars. It's kind of hard to read here, but we got Picard saying there are 4 aces in reference to the
4 lights.
Exactly, and then we got of course Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap.
Right.
Darth Vader said, "No!" At any rate. 23, 17, 46, 11 are the coordinates of where the Dreadnought class, the Dreadnought ship that Admiral Marcus is hiding in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Nice.
Right. Okay. That's a true Innergeekdom talent right there. You're in the league, and that you're getting those things. That's going to be a question now. It's got to be at some point, right?
I hope so. I've memorized it. Why do I think people bash Hook? Because they have no taste.
Is it? Are they talking about Hook the movie with Robin?
Yes, I will Hook. Yeah, no, because I've been on a couple different shows talking about how awesome Hook is, and
I love that movie.
I have no idea why anyone would bash Hook, other than they don't get good movies. I don't like this. Is like the people who hate joy, people who hate entertainment. I don't know. I have never understood people who say that's one of Spielberg's worst films. I say it's one of his best.
I love that movie so much. I think about that movie almost every single day of my life. The stars are all my friends. Like I think about that every time I look up into the sky.
Let's not throw Roka under the there we go, Jay. Thank you. Yeah. Jake Yakoveta is trying to start some shit with Roka apparently. No.
As he does.
That's normal on this end.
Normal Jake behavior.
We all know Roka's a little long in the tooth, and maybe he maybe he didn't get to see Hook until he was a grumpy old man. And I kid. Roka's a child at heart.
Yeah, we all are. I think Bateman might not like Hook because of the Bangarang question. Got him in one of those matches. That might be.
Also, at the last time we did Video Drew karaoke, I did the Skrillex song Bangarang.
Nice.
Half the words are "Shut out, tell my Lost Boys, we rowdy." That's basically the other song. Bangarang. Bangarang.
No, that's like a good point. Roka might be Peter before he was back to Neverland. Maybe that's what it is. He just wants to be Peter.
Oh, that's I like that, Chris.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get to come in. You get to make your presence known by talking to Dagnino, and then lo and behold, did any other managers come talk to you before the draft, like trying to inquire about how you were, what you should do, possibly whether they should draft you or not?
The funny thing is, no other manager approached me. Even before I approached Dagnino, because look, the day, Christian told me I was in, but then that's all he said. He's like, all right, you're in. It's like, okay, well, now what? And he's like, well, someone's going to have to draft you. I was like, so the day I was there for the taping, I talked to 3 different managers, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, so I'm not going to name the names of the other 2 managers. But the other 2 managers just kind of didn't really give me much of the time of day and kind of blew me off. And then, with Dagnino, Christian was like, hey, come do a scene first. So like, we shot that scene, and that scene was pretty much us meeting each other. It's, kind of, art imitating life. And then after it, I just talked to him some more and told him about myself. He's like, okay, I'll draft you. And then, that was it. But then I don't hear from, so that we take that in October, and the draft is in January. And I hadn't heard from him in, months. I was like, it's happening. And so, I reached out, and I wrote him a nice detailed letter about why he should draft me. And he was very excited by it. And, but even before, people saw Ethan was talking me up in the Facebook channel, and, Ben was asking Christian about me on SEN Live. So it's like, people were aware of who I was. And, the day, like when I talked to Ethan the day of the draft, he and I were seated together at the, the draft. And he told me that there was other specific managers that he'd talked me up to. So in between the award show and the drafts, I went and I introduced myself to those managers. And, because, at the end of the day, my preference was Tom, but also it's just a matter of, I knew Tom didn't have a pick in the first 4 rounds. So I didn't want, I didn't want to end up on, I knew that I should put all my eggs in that basket. That's the point I'm making. But
Gotcha.
I'm very happy that he took me, and I'm very happy that the other thing that was important to me was that I wanted to make sure I was drafted the day of, like in there, because were you all there? I know some of you were there.
Yeah, all 3 of us were there. Yeah.
I was not there.
You guys went out.
Paul wasn't.
Okay.
I feel like I saw you because I was actually seated right next to you guys, and you guys won your award, and I forget it. Yeah, there you go. I can't remember. Danny, was it you that gave me a hug when I got drafted? Someone from your table gave me a hug. I don't remember if it was you or someone else.
It was probably me. I believe it was me and Lucas on the exact outsides of it. So I think as soon as I saw you walk through, it was
Yeah, I was like on my way to see Dagnino. You're like, give me a hug. I was like, sure. So,
yes, Alex was there as well. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Speaking of the draft, one of my big experience with the draft, I think everyone was the lack of food and lots of alcohol. So that was a fun experience. How was that for you? Did you have a good time? Because we all sure did.
No, that was great. I did fortunately get some food immediately before going there. I didn't know that there was going to be any food, but I think I stopped at like Taco Bell or something, or no, Del Taco it was. I stopped at Del Taco now that I recall, and had a little bit, but then we were drinking. we were not sober. There was and then after the fact, me and Ethan and Sonia went out to the Cabo Wabo Cantina and continued eating, and there we got food, and we started eating and continued drinking.
There you go. There's another person who gave you a hug. Guy goes to there.
Andre. So Andres is actually also there the day I went to watch the taping. He was also there trying to introduce himself to managers, and he, unfortunately didn't get drafted on draft day, but he's there now. He's part of the dungeon. If I ever have to face him, I will destroy him and make him cry.
Wow, Andres, you can respond to that in the chat if you'd like. You called out like that, but
no, I don't know if he'll cry per se, but on the inside, he'll definitely be crying. I only have access to the private chat for some reason on my StreamYard. So if anyone's saying he's responding, I can't see what his response is.
Let me see if I can fix that for you. I can fix that for you. Looks like somebody must have knocked it off. Hold on 1 second.
I see it now. Live comment.
There you go.
There you go.
We got Nerd Chronic there. Hey, what's up, Nerd Chronic?
We love Nerd Chronic. Very friend of the show and always working. I'm surprised he's here. He's always working at this point. Especially last week, 5 matches. God.
That poor man. Ending all those matches together.
Luckily, he doesn't sleep. That's what I've heard.
So. Oh, are you kidding me? We are so lucky. We are so lucky to have him there. Alex is the one that gave me a hug. She said,
Alex. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. We're all a big hugging crew.
Yeah, I couldn't. I hadn't met any of you yet. I just knew that one of you. Like, I was drunk and I was walking to see Dagnino, and someone from your group was like, "Give me a hug." I was like, "Sure."
Alex and I are very similar in features. The best difference that you can tell from us is our height.
Like,
Alex is very tall. I am very short.
Oh, there you go. He's going to break you, he says. Now I want to see this match.
Fighting words.
Now, let's see. You started off in singles, obviously, and you had a kick-ass first match, and then also now you're in the Innergeekdom tournament. Was that always something that was on your mind to play Innergeekdom, or was it something that came up because of the conditions and meeting people in the tournament?
No, so it was always in my mind that I would play in Innergeekdom. And, it was a matter of, when I in that letter I told Tom, I was like, look, I can right now I can contend with anyone in the league in singles, and you give me a couple months to ramp up for Innergeekdom, I can contend in Innergeekdom too. And so that was something that part of the reason why I was drafted was to be an Innergeekdom competitor. But the circumstances of this all, they announced the Innergeekdom tournament at some point while Sonia was in the hospital, or it was while after she passed away. And so when they announced the tournament initially, I was like, maybe I'll do it. But then we had 2 other people in the team were like, oh, I also want to do it. And I said, you know what, I'll sit this one out. I'll help coach you guys up. I'm not not in the best place for it. You guys want to do it, you can do it, and I'll just coach you up. But then I got a call from, a couple days later, I got a call from Tom Dagnino, our manager, and he's like, Craig, so, I won't divulge the full conversation, but he we had a good conversation. And I was like, all right, you know what? Let me do this. I think this will be good for me. And so it's been great to have it to focus on, and it's we'll say this. Some people have said. Some people have looked at this and said, "Oh, there's some chinks in his armor." I went to multiple choice 3 times in the second round. I got a Harry Potter question wrong in the first round, and I missed a 2-point steal in the second round. So it's like, okay, that's the most vulnerable I've ever looked. Which by the way, is still an 89% accuracy rate, third best all time. That was less than a month of prep.
Wow.
That was like, I think it was like May 7th. May 7th was when I agreed to be in the tournament, and June 1st was when we taped that match. So,
wow.
So that was like 3 weeks of prep. So
Wow.
I'm still prepping, and I'm gonna we'll just say I've already taped my second match, and there will be I think there will be some surprises in my second match. So I'll say.
Okay, yeah, you play the. I mean, you already did it, obviously, but you're playing the winner of Janine and Humphrey, which airs this week.
Correct. I know who won that match.
You do.
Oh, and you don't.
Fair enough. Okay. So, are you looking? Well, I shouldn't say anything else because we don't know exactly, but because I always pictured when I picked the tournament, I've been looking forward to you facing Robert Parker because Robert Parker has such the prestige and everything else. I'm not looking past your next match, obviously, but did that something that kind of went through your head at least when you started the Innergeekdom? Because he's made such a name for himself, being so dominant as far as the Innergeekdom style goes. Is that looking forward to?
I looked at the bracket and I recognized that on the left side of the bracket, the name that has the most hype behind it based on his prowess in the fan leagues and his dominant first match against Ace and his dominant showing in the Lord of the Rings exhibition match. It's like, okay, we know this, we know Robert Parker's for real. And so I said, there's I think a lot of people thought he was the odds-on favorite to win the tournament, and so yeah, I thought, okay, if I make it through, the odds are I will face him. But at this point, we don't even know the outcome of his match against Ben Goddard. Ben Goddard's someone who's proven that he is dedicated and talented, and he won his first match against Jim Vejvoda very handily, and. We'll see what happens in his match against Parker. So,
absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it's like I want to face. At some point, I want to face everyone. I want to face the best. And if Parker's the best in the bottom half of the bracket, then I'd want to face him. If I won that match I had on Friday.
I know that times have been weird right now with COVID going around, so we've been having to do these online matches and stuff like that, and we've had to put a hold on team matches. But like a lot of the word and the hype that's kind of going around for team matches is kind of between you and one of the most hyped new addition players into the Schmoedown, and that's with Sabrina Ramirez. Mm-hmm. I would love to see you and Sabrina on a team. Do you feel like you and her would work together well as a team, or is there anyone else in your faction that you feel like you might work best with as a team?
I mean, well, first off, I would go to battle with anyone in my faction as a teammate. I think top to bottom, 1 through 10, Finstock Exchange is just we are loaded. Everyone, even like I think me and Cody Hall could be a great team. I think me and Great Drake could be a great team, and I think me and Sabrina could be a great team. Now, that said, out of the 1 through 10, we've got 2 teams already in there, so it's like that's 4 people that I can't be teamed with.
Right.
And we've got, Emily, who thus far is only IG, and DeBlanc, who thus far is only Star Wars. So really that leads my tag team potential partners to those, Gray and Cody and Sabrina. And I would be confident that a team of myself and any one of them would be dominant. There have been talks but I won't say anything about who or when I make a team's debut until it happens. For all I know, my team's debut might be me and Elvis versus Vinny the Ice Pick and Owen Mugen. So,
I probably would put money on you and Elvis. You've done well so far with Elvis. So
Yeah.
Elvis knows a lot of answers. You guys don't hear what he's saying to me in these matches.
It's right there. It's right there. It's an Astro situation going on.
Is that legal? I don't know. Is that performance enhancing?
Look, there is nothing illegal about Elvis being on my shoulder and giving me answers.
I'll give you that.
Harlow, flip it before a match. Thank you.
Explicitly illegal.
Fair enough.
How many of you are in Texas? You? Okay.
Just me.
Just adding.
The Shake Shacks are also in Texas, right?
There might be a couple of Shake Shacks in Texas. They're not anywhere where I'm at. I've never ever been to a Shake Shack.
Wow.
I was talking about Lucas and Alex.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
There you go. Well, speaking of Sabrina possibly your tag team partner, maybe. She did mention when she was talking about she had talked to different people before she made her decision free agency wise, and she mentioned that people were calling her from the Finstock Exchange and getting it kind of was grilling her on questions, trying to figure out were you a part of that? Is that something you were talking to her about? Were you part of the recruiting process, shall I say?
I mean, it's funny. I wouldn't say I was part of the recruiting process, but I was definitely, she wanted my opinion on her joining the team because, I'd specifically spoken to her, at some points and not realizing that there was anyone on our team that we were, possible, that it was possible to drop. I was, one of the things that, I mentioned was it's like, if we had an open roster spot, it'd be good, but we love everyone on our team. And fortunately, BC made it happen. And I think BC's happy with his new role on the team. I think it's great that we were able to add Sabrina to the team without losing a team member. And I think it was fantastic because if you go on, I think it's like fandom or whatnot has the all rosters ever, and I think we're the only franchise or one of the few franchises, franchise teams, factions that doesn't have anybody in the former members section because we didn't get rid of BC. We just transitioned him to a non-competitive role for the time, for this season.
What is the official title? Is it Muscle? Is it?
He's the consigliere.
Consigliere. Okay, great. I like that.
He's a second in command, and half the factions already had a second in command, and he's still heavily involved in what we do as a team. It's great. So, but that being said, I did talk to Sabrina. She reached out to me to make sure I was going to be okay with her taking someone else's spot on the team, and just kind of wanted to see where my head was at with everything. And she and I had spoken. She came to a taping one day, and I'd spoken with her. I was actually familiar with her work because I'd seen her on her first appearance. I don't know if it was her first appearance, one of her early appearances on SCN where she was talking about the Invisible Man. And so I went and I watched her. I watched her review of the Invisible Man. And I was like, she knows her stuff. I did that even before I even met her. And then she, the day that she was there, I made sure to introduce myself and tell her how much I, enjoyed her work. And, so we, she and I had been, we'd been in contact since the day that I'd met her, just, on a friendly basis. So, I'm a big fan of her as a person, and I'm a big fan of her in terms of her dedication and what I believe that she will bring and do in this league. I think she's going to be she is a future champion, and and possibly in multiple divisions. So she's
multiple divisions. Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting to hear. I feel like we've heard a lot of hype about Sabrina, but multiple divisions isn't something that I've heard before. So
that's true. That's very true.
I think she could very easily become a teams champion. I think she could very easily become a singles champion.
Nice.
And that's and if she decides she wants to, go even further, because I know she's very into some of these, Innergeekdom categories. I don't know if she's going to want to, to do the work that it takes to compete in Innergeekdom. But if she wants to do that, I think she'd excel at that too. So I think you're looking at a future champion, and I'm very, very happy that she's on the FinStock Exchange.
Perfect.
Nice.
All right. And we do have a super chat. Love to you, Craig. Got to go Video Chronics starting soon, which I think is a pretty good segue from a question I had. Is I've been watching you a lot on Video Chronics amazing trivia matches, and that is so fun to watch. And you are so damn good. Those questions are so deep, and you kill it. It's amazing.
Thank you. My favorite was the Little Shop of Horrors match we did for Drew's birthday, because I've actually never seen Little Shop of Horrors. I was doing the entire match with just like these deep cut questions with just either multiple choice or kind of just like basic knowledge of the film that I'd had.
I was there in the chat for that one.
Yeah, me too.
Is there one that you're looking forward to? Anyone that you've been talking to, Eric or Andres, about trying to do a specific movie that you'd like to tackle?
I mean, me and Ben Goddard are supposed to do a From Dusk Till Dawn match soon.
Oh,
yeah. I want to wait till we're both done with the Innergeekdom tournament so it doesn't interrupt our studying. But but no, I'm very much looking forward to the From Dusk Till Dawn match. I didn't get to participate in the Being John Malkovich match they had last week because I love Being John Malkovich.
Oh, nice. It's a long time since I've seen it, but it's a great movie.
It really is. I would love for there to be a Selma Hayek slice.
Oh, I'd love a Selma Hayek slice. I'm a big Selma Hayek fan. That reminds me of a fun anecdote I have. It's my favorite celebrity anecdote. I met both Christian and Ethan during when we were all at Silver Pictures together, and Ethan was an executive and Christian was an assistant, and I was an intern, and then I went on to do like freelance script reading for them afterwards. But while I was there as an intern, one day I was, in order to get to the kitchen, you got to walk through the lobby, and I'm just like, walking through the lobby, and I just turn and look and just like see someone sitting, and then like realize it was like Salma Hayek, and I just kind of do a double take, and I'm doing a double take because she's, as gorgeous as she is on movies, it's like exponentially more evident in person, and I'm just like, I'm just walking, innocently walking. I do the double take, and as I'm walking through the door. And as I leave the room, I immediately just like walk into a wall very loudly, just this loud, like boom. And then as I was collecting myself, I was like, I bet she gets that a lot.
No, yeah, agreed.
People being so distracted by her that they collide and crash into things.
Yeah, that's a situation that she's used to. I would not disagree on that at all.
You want a Salma Hayek slice? I want a slice of Salma Hayek, basically, is what I want.
No.
Whoa. Let's keep this. What rating are we keeping this?
We're at our level. It's okay. We're
okay. PLD, you saucy minx.
Gotta be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I tell the truth. I always tell the truth. So. Oh well.
I wouldn't know what to do with her. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true.
Sorry, I can't. I mean, I'd love to, but there's, let's face facts.
Well, it looks like I'm not the only one.
Sit there in amazement.
It's not just me. Fair enough. That's where we're going so far tonight. All right.
No, it's the same thing for me. Hayek is a beautiful woman, and there's no denying that.
Yeah, and if she and I ever got together, she'd be very disappointed.
It'd be the worst 30 seconds of her life. That's what I was saying. Anyway, though.
Pretty much. What? I'm just saying. Oh, Jesus, Alex. All right, we'll stop. Paul started it, by the way.
Paul started it.
Paul started it.
More than likely saying stuff about Paul.
Or
me being creepy, because I have a tendency to be a little creepy sometimes.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying it is an arguable statement of fact that Salma Hayek is a beautiful woman.
110%. Daddy wants to give you an out. If you're returning, you can blink twice, and he'll try. I don't know what he's gonna do. But he could.
You see my blinking through the glass. My glasses are they're always a little foggy. So.
There you go. All right, we're good. We're good so far. Okay.
We're okay.
Unfortunately, Danny's in Brazil, so he can't come save me.
Yeah.
Or if he does try, it's going to be a bit before he gets there.
Yeah.
I will be
actually,
dead by then.
That is true too. That's one of my favorite rules.
Yes, kayak and dogma.
Mhm.
Beautiful rule. That's just
whoa, Alex, creepy much? I just mean creepy much, Alex? Come on, let's not talk about dog.
Perfect. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, but another question I did have, go back, scroll down real quick. I want to say you mentioned multi-divisional thing. You went to the Innergeekdom. Because you've had such a splash this year on both the Innergeekdom and the regular singles, is there any thought to you possibly eventually? I know it's too early to say. Try to become the first person to have have held belts in all 4 leagues. Would you go for Star Wars?
I do plan on eventually getting into the Star Wars division. It's just a matter of, because as I'm studying for the Innergeekdom division, guess what I'm studying? Star Wars.
Star Wars.
So it's like, it's not gonna. It's like, and I know this. I know that the questions that they ask in the Star Wars division are in general deeper cuts than what they ask in the Innergeekdom division. But it's like I tend to study. I tend to overstudy in order to make sure that I will. It's better to overstudy than to understudy. So as I overstudy for Star Wars and Innergeekdom, it's like, well, I may as well also compete in the Star Wars division at some point. But I want to get myself to an elite level in Innergeekdom before I try to maneuver into Star Wars as well. And but yeah, no, I don't see that as being a problem. I've always been a big Star Wars fan, and there are only 12 movies to learn.
True. Potential. I mean, it's a potential. That would be something Mount Rushmore likes. Nobody's done it yet so far. So to have that as a goal could be really kind of a cool notch.
I mean, I feel like the first person to do that, I think the first person to compete in all 4 would be Alex Damon. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a jump for him to be like, okay, I'll just do general. I don't know if he'd win at it. I don't know how good he'd be at singles, but he's already in 2 divisions. He's in the 2 divisions that most people shy away from. So, we have IG competitors playing in teams with somewhat regularity. This season we had Habon and Lovick played against each other as 2 former exclusively IG players playing in teams. So yeah, no, I think Alex Damon will probably be, I don't know, maybe the first one to hold a belt in all 4, but he's got. I feel like me getting to the level where I can take Alex Damon's Star Wars belt after him is a few years away. But
fair enough. That's true.
Yeah.
Ken Knapsack has competed in 3 divisions. I think John Campion is the only one who's ever competed in all 4. I believe that's the trivia on that.
Okay.
But I don't know if anyone else has. I don't think anyone's even competed in all 4 except for him at that point. But that's a question. There's something to bring up. Rookie of the Year talk. I know it's a little early, but are you hearing the rumblings at all? I mean, everybody's saying Goddard, you, and Parker are the big 3, obviously. What are your thoughts on Rookie of the Year and what you're going for?
Well, I mean, first off, let me say this. We got someone in the chat right here who's an undefeated rookie, Jader Paramo. So let's not take his name off the ballot yet until he starts losing, i.e. until he starts facing me. Booyah, suck it, Jader. I'm kidding. But no, I mean, the 3 biggest, most hyped names in the league this year thus far have been myself, Ben, and Robert Parker. And I think each of us, thus far have legitimate, claims to that title. And I think at the end of the day, it's not like there is a, objective analysis that will provide you with who will end up being the rookie of the year, because at the end of the day, it's a vote. It's a popularity, not a popularity contest, but it is a popular vote. I mean, for instance, like look at what Paul Oyama did last year as a rookie. He was very deserving of rookie of the year and lost it to someone else that was very deserving of rookie of the year. So it's just a matter of, it's a matter of what the people choose. So, but for instance, look, I've thus far competed in 3 matches that have aired, and I've missed in those 3 matches a total of, one question in the first round, and then I also missed a steal, which, I'll say this: had I gotten a chance to do multiple choice, then who knows if I would have gotten it right or not. But either way, the 2 questions I missed across 3 matches, 2 official matches, and an exhibition match. And I feel like those are very good qualifications, and I have got plenty more matches to go.
That's true.
But
and of course, the end game also has to be said that recency bias also does come into effect. Also, I think that's the same thing happened to Paul Yama when he lost badly to Ben and Spectacular. No, but Smets KO'd Kalinowski.
Those the other two, But again, like I'm talking about the qualifications of my other two, the other 2 people that are like right now, the 3 of us are in conversation. It's like, look, Robert Parker is a beast, and he might win this tournament. He might not. He might win the IG title this year. He might not. But depending on what he does, that'll go a long way. He's already won an exhibition match. And one of the if exhibition matches were eligible for match of the year, that would definitely be a contender. And he won his debut match in an actual perfect game. But my game was 100% accuracy, but I checked down to multiple choice on one of them. He did a completely perfect knockout. So, that's really impressive so far from him. And then Ben Goddard has wins across 3 divisions already. And not only that, but like say for instance, if Ben loses to Robert or myself in the IG tournament, or if he loses to Robert in the IG tournament and I beat him in the singles, in singles, there can still be an argument for Ben to be Rookie of the Year because of not just how strong he's proven himself to be, but also the work he does outside of the Schmoedown in terms of like within the community. He's on SEN Live all day. He raised $11,000 for Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's no small thing. So I wouldn't hold it against the voting members of the public if they took that into consideration at all, because it's this isn't we're all people, and we take it's like it's like not to besmirch her, but before Olivia Colman won her Oscar and the Hollywood Reporter, there was an article. They always do their like brutally honest, Oscar ballot stuff. And leading up to the Oscars, it looked like it was Glenn Close by a mile. But the article Hollywood Reporter ran, the guy says like, look, Olivia Colman. So he's like, I'll let you in on a dirty secret. We like to vote for our friends, and he says like, and Olivia Colman is one of the nicest people I've ever worked with. And after I worked with her, I told her, you're going to win an Oscar someday, and I'm going to help you do it. Oh, wow. And so that person, the person in the Hollywood Reporter article was like, she's like, that's why I voted for Olivia. And so there are a number of people very likely in Hollywood who voted for Olivia Colman to win that Oscar, even if they thought Glenn Close was the better performance, because of, outside factors. And that's all to say that there are legitimate reasons to it's a holistic picture that people are going to take into account when they vote, And I can see it being any one of us. And look, if Jader goes on and wins this singles tournament, it could be Jader too. Jader's never lost a match in the Schmoedown. I want to point that out. Yep. Jader Paramo has never lost a match in the Schmoedown. Cheers, Jader.
I do want to is Jader paying you? Because you've said that multiple times now so far. PayPal or?
No, I'm just trying to get inside his head so that when we mention it. I'm kidding. No, I love Jader. I met Jader at the day when he came in to tape his match with Brittany. I mean, I don't know if you guys recall the match. I came out and talked some smack to him afterwards, and then of course Andrew Ghai had to run his bitch ass mouth. You guys know how big Andrew Ghai stands, right? That's what this action thing is. Sorry.
I'm Team Bateman. It's fine.
You're Team Trader. I'm also Team Trader.
Well, that's one question I'm not going to ask then. God damn.
Of course I'm Team Bateman. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know you have to be. You're on his faction. I get it.
Not only that, but he's the better. I'm sorry. One of them was a champion, and one of them was part of why Drew McWeeny retired.
All right. Are we going to get into this debate right now? Because, I mean, we kind of can if it comes down to the better team action faction member.
Oh no, now's the time when I get to ask you guys questions. So,
Turn around. Go ahead.
all right, let's go with this. PLD, what's the hat you're wearing? What does it say?
Queen.
Oh Lord!
Okay, I thought it said Queen. I wasn't sure. Have you seen Queen in concert?
I did not see the full Freddie Mercury Queen. I said I've seen Queen with Paul Rogers, and I saw Queen with Adam Lambert.
Okay, well, first off, you still saw Queen. Look, Freddie Mercury was one of 4 members of Queen. He is quite possibly the greatest rock musician of all time, in my opinion, at least. But if I had the opportunity to see Queen with Freddie Mercury, I would go take it. But guess what? He's dead, so we don't have that opportunity anymore. But we do still have the opportunity to see Brian May and Roger Taylor perform, and they are fantastic musicians as well. And they were creative centerpieces to that band as well.
110% agree.
And I saw Queen with Adam Lambert twice, and both times it's like they were very respectful of being like, we are the band Queen, and Adam Lambert is playing with us.
That's why they titled it that way.
Exactly.
Queen plus Adam Lambert. They were saying Adam Lambert was a
Adam
part.
Lambert, no one will ever replace Freddie Mercury and Queen. Yeah. They will just take on lead singers to tour with them as part of the act.
And that's exactly what it is.
When Roger Taylor plays I'm in love with my car, guess what? That's the real singer singing it to you.
That's right.
Brian May goes in there and sings some song.
39.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. But I grew up a big Queen fan even before Wayne's World revived their popularity with the long. Yeah, exactly. Danny knows what's up.
Yeah.
I actually grew up that way too. I didn't know it until Wayne's World, but after I heard Wayne's World, I went back and found Greatest Hits, and I was like, "Wow!" I grew up on Flash Gordon. I grew up on Another One Bites the Dust. I grew up on Crazy Little Thing Called Love. I grew up on Highlander soundtrack. I grew up on all this stuff.
See, my dad was a big Queen fan, so growing up, I was listening to Night at the Opera all the time, and then and Wayne's was like, "Oh yeah, this is that song I like," So. But yeah,
was Queen and Adam, and actually Queen and Paul Rogers was actually pretty good too, because he's got a great soulful voice, a different style, but it still worked. It still was a fun band. So,
all right, Danny, my question for you: what are you drinking?
White Claw.
What flavor White Claw?
This is raspberry White Claw.
Okay. How many raspberry White Claws does it take for you to become inebriated?
4.
Is this number 5 for you right now, or what are you?
3.
It's 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not inebriated?
I'm about there. I'm getting there.
All right, just checking.
Yeah. No one's called me out like this on my own show before.
You guys gotta ask questions. I'm asking questions.
It's all good. I like it.
Kelsey, my questions to you are: what are the 4 posters behind you?
I have Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey Harley Quinn, Kylo Ren, and then the cover of the first appearance of Iron Man.
Oh, nice. Very nice. That's good. Okay, you may resume your questioning.
Back to your usual programming.
I'm just going to highlight all the Queen stuff that's in the chat.
No,
I'm going to talk about Queen very much. So yeah, I love all this stuff.
Yeah.
And camshaft, look at that! Wow, all that was to be experiencing that as when it first came out. That would be something to say.
So I think I'm trying to think of a first Queen memory for myself. I can't. I feel like I've been listening to Queen my entire life, because they're very much also a band that I've put into my life and that I very much love. I don't feel like I can say that I'm as big of a fan as Paul DiNuzio, because Paul
not
is
many
Paul.
can.
Not many can, but
challenge accepted.
Yeah,
I could do that right now and do that if you wanted.
That's it. Shutting down chill. This is turning into a Schmoedown Queen exhibition match.
Fucking bring it. No, we're going to do a Bohemian. Hey, Nerd Chronic, if you're still in the chat, write up a Bohemian Rhapsody quiz for me versus PLD.
Okay, look, I'm gonna say this really quickly. I I very much almost wanted to and did not. I'm very sad that I did not. Only because I knew Paul's schedule. I wanted, when everyone is going through the Star Wars stuff and when the free agency was going around, I wanted to campaign for Paul for someone to pick up Paul for a free agency, because I absolutely guarantee you in the Star Wars matches, Paul probably knows way more than a lot of people think that he knows. A lot of us do know that Paul knows, but like if you've actually had a conversation with Paul really does, and have had to fucking sit through a reaction with Paul, like oh Lord. Like
first off, I'll say this. The bar to cross for Paul to know more than it looks like he knows is very low.
Fair, touche. I get it. I like to set the low standards. So
my whole
promise
point.
over deliver, Paul. That's my jam.
My whole point is like if you feel like Paul knows a lot about something, he probably knows way more than you think he does. So the whole Queen situation with Paul, I guarantee you Paul will dominate any Queen trivia, but he also would have dominated the Star Wars trivia. I have no doubt about that.
Could be.
We're gonna get your chronic to write up a Bohemian Rhapsody quiz for us, Paul.
If you want to do that, I'm all in. I'm all in.
I love making people cry. So.
All right, we do have some Streamlabs and super chats. Starting with the Streamlab we have from Alex, the Superior Shosek, donated, and here's what she said. What are your comfort movies? I love Sense and Sensibility, Silence of the Lambs, and Singing in the Rain.
I love that Silence of the Lambs is her comfort movie. Oh my god!
Yeah, no, she said this on a couple of streams. She watches that movie with her parents, with her dad or her mom. I can't remember. I'm so sorry, Alex, but like it's a family movie that they watch.
I was just on Aaron Brooks' stream today talking about how Silence of the Lambs is just one of the most disturbing films I've ever watched. Awesome.
It makes sense to me. That makes absolute sense to me.
Great. It's a daughter movie. Yes, exactly.
There it is.
I understand it there because it's like it is about the female empowerment, but it's also about a man that tucks his dick between his legs and does a little dance.
And also, I'm so sorry to not discredit that. Yes, it is about a man who tucks his dick in between his legs, but like it's also a father-daughter movie in a sort of way, because that whole thing with like Clarice and her father, it like has a sort of thing. Like I get that Alex watches it with her mom, but like as someone who like loves daddy-daughter movies, like that's also kind of what it is. But yeah, it's most definitely about a man who tucks his dick in between his legs.
That's true.
Yeah. It puts the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the hose again. But in terms of comfort movies for me, it's hard to say, because it's like, like if I'm in like a bad place and I need like something for comfort, it's like the funny movies don't help me then, because it's like I need something that's like less funny, more I don't know, like something that like has the feels, but I can't even I can't think of anything right now that I feel like has like has the feels. I will say the there was a time once where I was in a very stressful physical and mental thing where I'd gotten trapped on the side of a mountain during a hiking trip and had to get rescued by a helicopter after a few days. And when I got home, the movie I watched for comfort was Cars, but I'd never seen it before. But I feel like Cars is a good comfort movie. It was very lowbrow and very like, oh, Doc Hollywood, I've seen this before. But,
Doc Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like Cars is the one comfort film I can think of right now.
I'm very much the person that, like, if I'm sad, I want to listen or watch other sad things. Like, I like to, I very much enjoy crying. Most people who watch this channel know that. And I think for me, my comfort movie, the very first movie that came to my mind absolutely is What Dreams May Come. What Dreams May Come will always, like, I talk about the movie all the time because it's one of my favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite comfort movies because it puts me in in this place of friendship and family and love that allows you to be sad and happy about all of those things all at the same time, if that makes sense.
I see. Best visual effects winner of 1998.
I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Like from going from painting into real life, like that one scene where Cuba Gooding Jr. just like does this thing in the house where he goes whook, whook, and then like pushes it out and then it turns into real life. Yeah. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I love that movie.
That's a very powerful movie.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie.
Jake's also very confused about why it's a comfort movie. And like that was my initial reaction too, but I wasn't gonna try to talk you off of it because it's clearly something that's very important to you. For me, it's like I love the movie, but I don't watch it for comfort. It's got all the feels.
That's my point. Like I like to if I'm sad, I enjoy being in a sad moment like that because that movie is kind of sad. It's also happy, Jake.
They all die.
It's also they're all dead. Yes, they're all dead. Big spoiler alert. They're all dead at the end of it, but still. And not from natural causes. None of them die from natural causes, actually. So
I like to put her into. I just think to throw in a little good genre, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings kind of movie, some galaxy or place far, far away, and I just float away into that world for a little while to get away from everything else.
Yeah, and for me, maybe like Big Lebowski would be one of those two. I love. Yeah, Big Lebowski, one of my favorite films of all time, and I've watched it probably a million times, and it's just like, I can put it on any place that it is, and it's a good feeling. It's not like one of the super goofy ones that makes you want to, But I will say one more film I'll add on the heap here because there was a time that I used this as a comfort movie. It was the first time I ever saw it. It was Dude, Where's My Car? I was in a bad, I was in kind of a messed up place at the time that I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but and I went to a friend's place and they're like, hey, let's watch this movie, and it was Dude, Where's My Car? And it really lifted my spirits. And for anyone that hasn't seen Dude, Where's My Car, or I know some friends were like, oh, I didn't watch that because people compared it to some other similar films and whatnot, and I was like, no. This is a perfect escalation comedy. It's like textbook. It is a fantastic film, and it's absurd, and it's just really funny. And I feel like if we go back and watch it now, revisiting it now that there's so many more famous people in it that were it's funny how many people became famous after doing that movie.
So one of my if anyone has worked in the restaurant industry, I've been a bartender in the restaurant industry.
You're gonna say waiting.
No, not waiting. Not waiting. There's a lot in waiting that has to do with this. But from Dude, Where's My Car? So we had to have 2 carafes in our bar. So in the bar, I worked in a restaurant, but I worked behind the bar in the restaurant. But we also had to have sweet tea and regular tea in it behind our bar. So anytime that we filled those carafes, the way that those carafes were filled, labeled, one was labeled dude and one was labeled sweet for tea and for unsweet tea. So the unsweet tea always, everyone knew the dude carafe.
No, that's amazing. I love that. That's
dude
amazing.
And sweet. So that was what it was.
Tim Franco is greeting us in the chat. What's up, Tim Franco? Good to see you there.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Me too. I do love that Mickey shirt.
I usually wear black shirts. I'm very much a black shirt guy, but I found this and I haven't worn this in forever. So I was like, I'll throw it on tonight.
Why does the shirt got to be black, Paul?
It's because that's what it is. Cause honestly, the reason why is because I have a uniform that I wear for work, and we get free black T-shirts underneath because it's a black shirt and a black T-shirt. So I just wear black T-shirts all the time. I just whip out my uniform. I have a black T-shirt on, so it's almost always. If you ever watch my streams, I'm always wearing a black T-shirt.
Do you really, Paul? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for the White Claw. Do you really have to wear a uniform for your job?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
It used to be, well, you had the front desk too. We were the front desk too. I actually used to have like a uniform that looked exactly like a police officer uniform. Like it was a full like blue shirt, badge, and everything else. But then like we had some people threaten us in the like the outer, because we were in the same building as the court building. So some people threatened badgers, and so they changed us up, and we're not carrying anything. We're not like protected or anything. So we got changed. Now we have a uniform. It's more just khakis and like a golf shirt type of thing that says.
Craig, if you don't know, Paul is a 911 dispatcher.
Oh,
so Paul has to answer 911 phone calls. So if anyone is in the New York area and you feel like pranking Paul,
oh yeah, again,
going to jail. No, so Paul, let me ask you: how many times have you gotten calls lately about people reporting people to you who weren't wearing their masks in public?
Shit ton.
Yeah, I got friends back home who are cops, and they complain about it all the time. They're like these fucking Karens.
These fucking Karens. I hate y'all so much. Earlier, these two people called me a Karen. But it's fine.
You're a Karen, Jesus.
I'm not a Karen.
It's just something.
That's exactly what a Karen would say.
That's exactly what a Karen would say.
Fucking.
That's exactly what a Hispanic Karen would say.
All right, real quick before they disappear, I want to do Super Chats. Doors are my #1 band from Ross Bristow.
Good.
And then where to go? Team Danny from PC. All right.
Well,
fine.
Wait a second. What's that in context to?
Not a big deal. I probably we were playing.
Life context of Team Danny. I mean, first off, we're all Team Danny here. We love Danny.
I love Danny.
I'm not Team Karen.
Yeah.
Alex, how dare you? How?
Oh snap!
Paul is the Karen of Karen. Oh my
how
god!
Dare you? How am I the Karen of Karen?
Alex, were you on the pregame show before we started this? Because that's hilarious.
I know some actual people named Karen. I feel really bad for the people that actually named Karen that their names been different. It's like my brother's name is Kyle, and everyone's always like, the fun is like all the names of all the male names that people are like, oh, that's a dumb male name or whatever, like Kyle or Chad. Those are my brother's names. So my older brother's Chad. My younger brother's Kyle.
Poor guys. Poor guys.
I know one person named Karen. I know two people named Karen, and one is my boss, and the other is a client of mine. I do hair, so she's a client of mine, and we have so much fun talking Karen shit. Like it's hilarious when she comes in.
No, but let me ask.
Say Karen jokes.
Let me ask. When she asks for your manager, what does your manager say?
Karen, meet Karen.
It's that's really funny that you say that because literally every single time, like the first thing that she says when I see her is like, "Excuse me, can I speak to your manager?" Hi, I'm the manager.
Oh, PC is also on What Dreams May Come as a comfort movie. Okay, well.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
It doesn't disturb you that it's a movie about suicide and then he committed suicide?
Like it's a movie. It's genuinely a movie about death. Like that entire movie is about that family dying. But like the one scene that comes out to me is the scene with the daughter and Robin Williams. Like when Robin Williams finds the actress who plays her daughter in the afterlife, and they go through this whole chess game. Rosalind Cho, thank you. I did not know her name.
Keiko O'Brien. She's a Star Trek actress.
Really? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, she plays Miles O'Brien's wife in Star Trek.
That's so good to know. I've never watched anything Star Trek. I've been trying to get into Star Trek.
Someone get me a new host.
Round this out.
I see Alex is in the chat. Alex, do you like Star Trek?
Alex hasn't watched Star Trek.
Alex definitely doesn't like Star Trek.
No.
Well, never mind then. Alex, you stay in the chat. Star Trek.
If that's the conversation you want to have, we'll keep Alex.
Yeah, she was Keiko, Jake. Yeah.
Keiko,
I'm trying to watch Star Trek. Okay, it's not that
really easy. You just put it in and you press play.
Now you didn't put it anywhere. You just you just have to press play.
All right. So now I've very obviously I have to do this.
Yeah.
So I will. What, Craig, please, if you had to introduce anyone into Star Trek, what would be your proper introduction for someone who's never watched Star Trek? What would you like to introduce them to first?
So Star Trek First Contact is probably the best. It's the most accessible of the films. And you'll learn. So it has many more layers if you've seen the shows already. Because it really ties to two of the best episodes of Star Trek ever. But in and of itself, Star Trek First Contact is a film that any layman can enjoy.
That's very true. I would agree with that. So, I mean, I like the Next Generation. I'd say you can skip the original series for now. I'll go back to that once you get into it. It's kind of probably tough to enter into the original.
If you're talking about like the best Star Trek series is Deep Space Nine.
It's true. I'd actually have to go back and watch all that. I watched some of it when it first came through, but I never went back to watch it. So.
Yeah, because Deep Space Nine was serialized. Like the rest of them, like I think, Star Trek the original series and Star Trek Next Generation were very episodic.
Yeah.
But Deep Space Nine was like heavily serialized.
Right.
It was one of the first TV shows to do that. I mean, like, the modern era is, back when that podcast Serial came out, they're like, hey, we've got this new idea. We're going to tell one story and we're going to call it's a serialized story. So we're going to call ourselves Serial. They thought they invented that, but they didn't. Star Trek Deep Space Nine did.
That's true. That's very right.
Yeah, so I wrote down First Contact because my palm didn't work, so I had to write it on my wrist. But I wrote down First Contact.
Otis
Do you now have paper in Texas?
It fell down to the floor.
You're drunk.
Have you
seen?
You
only had 3 White Claws.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Have you seen Superman? Otis did that, and he got the wrong thing. You're gonna end up watching a movie called First Con.
Or Memento. Memento is the same thing.
No, he tattoos them as Memento. It doesn't smudge when you tattoo them. I would love for you to get a First Contact tattoo. That would be amazing.
I'll just write First Contact like that big on my forearm.
Oh yeah.
And that's it.
Danny, you can say that.
Danny, you are allowed to say that because my hat is awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
It is a good hat.
Fun story about this hat. So this hat is from a hat shop called Gorin Brothers, and I have probably far too many Gorin Brothers hats. But the Gorin Brothers in Studio City was going out of business, and so Sonia and I went there. Oh, okay. Danny doesn't like this conversation. She is anti-hat. I will pause this so that Danny's sake.
I think she's pro Goron. She said that she had to come back and get something to show you. I think.
I lost an earring while I was taking off my headphones, but
oh, okay.
I don't necessarily 100% know if it's the same company. I have to find the right tag, but I have a few. Here,
show me the inside.
It is Gorin's Brothers. Is that it?
Yeah, it's Gorin Brothers. There's no S in it.
Yeah, Gorin Brothers.
Yeah, Gorin Brothers. Yeah, exactly.
So I have a couple of hats from them. They have the best fucking hats, y'all.
Of course they do. This is a Gorin Brothers hat. So the point is, though, before I was so rudely interrupted by Danny.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show that I have these hats.
No, they're good hats. I like them. Anyway, point is, if I may continue.
You may.
So Sonia and I were at the hat shop. They were going out of business, so all the hats were 50% off. And I tried this. This was the only hat of its style there. I try it calls to me. I try it on. I'm looking in the mirror, and Sonia says, "No, absolutely not." But then some random stranger in the store was, "Don't listen to her. Buy it." like, correct, random stranger. You are correct. So
sometimes that random stranger is just absolutely right, and you got to go with it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me and why I have these hats and why you never see me wearing hats.
Exactly. So the moral of the story is, if you're in a store and you hear somebody's wife telling them not to buy something, and you think the wife's wrong, don't be afraid to just chime in to the strangers and say, no, actually ignore your wife and buy that.
Do it.
Do it. Yeah, it's
the Stranger Palpatine version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it.
Do it.
I will I do have this bucket hat that is my favorite hat, but I do also have and I also have this fedora. It's a fedora. It's a literal fedora. That it doesn't.
What got me into Goring Brothers in the first place was they did the Heisenberg hat for. They actually made the Heisenberg hat, and then they sold replicas of it, and so I bought the replica Heisenberg hat, and I still have it somewhere. I mean, I know where it is. I'm just not going to go get it right now because we're busy.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna wear this hat the rest of the show. Because
if I had known this was going to be a show about hats, I would have brought my entire haberdashery out.
Yeah, and, I didn't either. I'm so sorry, and especially because it's Gorin Brothers. So
well, you delayed, you interrupted the podcast to get your hats, so you should apologize.
It's on brand, but it's on brand.
It is a little
right? It is very on brand.
I don't know your brand. Your brand is chaos.
Yes,
that's very true. It has been very chaotic. It's always been very chaotic. Okay. But let's restore some order, and it's time to jump into the.
Wait, why is somebody texting about The Last Jedi in the chat?
I think they're talking to Alex about.
Is anyone talking about The Last Jedi?
No. Look, there are 3 things you don't talk about in polite public discourse: religion, politics, The Last Jedi.
Probably right. That's probably better for all conversations. You know?
I can agree with that statement.
No, as a bartender, I definitely agree with that statement. Don't come into my bar talking shit about The Last Jedi.
I mean, you guys don't want me to tell you about how bad your religion sucks. You don't want me to tell you about how bad your politicians suck. You definitely don't want me to tell you how bad The Last Jedi sucks.
Wow. Fair enough. Well, that cancels out that question from this or that. But
Amen.
All right, we're going to get into this or that. Everybody who's never been to the show before, then I'll quick discussion about that. I will be giving Craig 2 different things, and he'll choose between them. It's a pretty simple concept. If he wants to ask for clarification.
Let me get to a new one of these first.
Okay, do that. Do it.
Do your thing while I show off this hat, because look, this is an actually Gorin Brothers hat. Like this, I got it from the actual store in Austin. I got this in Austin. These are the only hats that I have. I have no other hats in the world. I didn't think that I could wear hats for a long time, and
you should.
Now I feel like I can pull it up. Maybe I'll just only wear this hat for chill to action streams. Who knows?
I like that.
You can wear hats. They fit on your head.
They do fit on my head.
You can do it. You can do it.
I can actually physically wear hats. Yes. Thank you.
It's like if someone told me that they don't believe in wearing hats, it's like, no. It's real.
No. This is not witchcraft that you see, even though I literally keep stones next to my computer to make sure that these streams go fine.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
No, not at all.
Especially considering what kind of tech problems you had earlier. Maybe it was the crystals that did it.
It is. It's all your fault, Danny.
They interrupted the crystals got in the way of your Wi-Fi. That's why you're having problems earlier. Oh, mystery solved.
Mystery is solved. Well, I already asked the first question I usually ask. You already answered pretty.
Favorite stream. Who knows?
So I'm not even going to ask that one because we don't want to get angry again.
Which one? Are you talking about? Or are you talking about my team trader or team Ghai?
Team Ghai or team trader.
And you made the right choice.
The first question. There's only one.
All I have to say is I like to root for a winner.
That's a good strategy.
Well, all I know is only one of them could beat Dan Merle.
Only one of them.
Ben was a slip of the tongue away from beating Merle. You know, if he had said Black Panther instead of Infinity War, you wouldn't have even had to go to his. He wouldn't even had to. It would have been a TK. It would have been a TKO. If he would have said Black Panther instead of Infinity War.
This match would have been in.
I know, but I'm just saying. You're saying should have beat Dan. No.
Oh, I know.
Ben, first off, this is no disrespect to Dan because I love Dan, and Dan is the all-time great. But Ben Bateman is the Triple H of our league. Ben Bateman is the cerebral assassin. He's dominant, and it's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control and if you can take it.
Yep.
And Ben Bateman embodies all of that.
He just needs a little bit. He needs to enter like you do. You have to have the hair and be able to flip and throw the water and all that stuff. But
Well, and Andrew Ghai, has he won a match? Oh wait, he did. We won that one. He won that one he likes talking about. I'm kidding. I'm just busting Andrew's balls.
They're allowed. That's all right.
Those are my balls. That's weird. That's weird. I'm sorry.
Are they not that spread apart? It's more like boom, 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 boom.
Maybe lower, maybe hanging lower. We don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Nothing higher is like boom, boom, boom.
Well, he does jump to the desk a lot, so maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, hard-hitting questions on Chill to Action. How low are Andrew Ghai's balls?
There we go.
Clip it out. Spread it everywhere.
If we wanted to clip out.
This is a team action podcast. We should have already known that.
That's true. Well,
you're always looking up.
I've never heard of Wow. They're going there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ash.
Ash is over. We could ask Ash. Ash would know more about it than we would. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ash.
I don't even know as well. I feel like you guys get a little too real.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So let's get into this whole thing now. Okay. Since we don't usually start with Team Guy, Team Trader, let's go with the other one we usually ask: loaded fries or poutine?
Oh, fucking Christ! So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna go poutine only because I feel like In-N-Out Burger animal style fries are the best, but they're not quite considered loaded fries. I mean, they're sort of loaded fries, but like if you go to In-N-Out Burger and ask for loaded fries, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with my Canadian heritage, my Canadian brethren, and I'm gonna go fucking poutine.
You made some people very happy.
Poutine, because loaded fries can always be something different, but poutine is always poutine.
That's right, Vladimir Poutine.
Hi, fucking cheers.
Poutine on the Ritz.
Poutine on the Ritz.
I did like that one. That was a good one.
It was the best Frankenstein I could do. I'm sorry.
Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sly Stallone?
Oh, Arnold, 1,000% Arnold.
I kind of figured you would say that because of the whole Conan bit and everything. But okay. Singles or IG?
I mean, fucking Sophie's choice. I would never leave either division. I'm not. I cannot. They are both equally. Here's. I was actually talking with another person that's doing both singles and IG today, and I was telling him, like, I feel like IG is the right brain division, and singles is the left brain division.
Agreed. 100%. Yes.
I do that. All right.
I've always considered myself to be both right brain and left brain, so I love them both.
Do you want to expand on that a little bit more?
No.
Okay.
Fair enough.
No, I agree.
I'm just saying, if I expand on a little bit more, then I'll start to get into, trade secrets and all that, and I don't want to.
Oh, we would love that. But.
I know.
I mean, we would love it.
And that's why I'm not doing it. We got Tim fucking Franco in the chat who's going to be reporting it back to his teammates. It's like
that's what I mean.
And Jader in there still, and Andre.
A lot of guys.
I don't think Jader's ever spoken to anyone else on the Droogs, is it?
Jader, probably not yet, actually, huh?
I think he's gone. Jader, you're gone, right?
Yeah, Jader, if you're there, type something. If not, don't.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. He must be gone. You can talk about him.
Okay. Jader is a son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. Bill Brasky is a son of a bitch. Anyone knows that sketch?
I love it. Now you're bringing Don to the sketch. Okay.
I've said too much. Tim Franco knows all my secrets now. Fuck!
Now we're in big trouble.
That's what I get.
All right. How about this one? I'm kind of invented on the spot here. A Night at the Opera or Queen 2?
Night of the Opera.
Night at the Opera is your favorite? Okay.
Ooh.
I like because it's underrated comparatively. I always thought Queen 2 was like the stepping stone to get to Night at the Opera. All right. How about Hardy Boys or Edge and Christian?
Ooh. It's rough because I feel like as a tag team, the Hardy Boys are better, but that Edge and Christian. I mean, the funny thing is, my favorite wrestler of those four is probably the only person that would go with Christian.
I love
it. One of my favorite live matches I've ever seen was Christian versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam a few years back at Staples Center, and it was like a no disqualification match. Fucking phenomenal. But if we're going specifically about the tag teams, the Hardys.
Good. That was the time. I loved the Edge of Christian Hardy Boys warfare in the early late 90s. It's good. All right. How about Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
I gotta go Han Solo because I gotta go Han Solo.
Okay.
That is one of our most polarizing questions. A lot of
It is. Yeah.
Look, Indy's fine, but it's like if I grew up on Star Wars in a way. Like I also grew up on Indy. Like we had the VHSs of Indy that we'd watch every now and again. But it's like I feel like over the course of the years, I've probably watched Star Wars twice as many times as I've watched Indy. So you got to go Han Solo there.
That's fair enough. Okay. John Candy or John Belushi?
John Candy.
John Candy, that quick. Okay, good job.
I wasn't even going to listen to what your second option was. Just John Candy. John Candy versus the world.
Puff as a female, I feel like John Candy is the correct answer to go.
I actually used to do John Belushi versus Chris Farley, but I threw a different bunch of a. So what would you rather about that, Belushi or Farley?
You know, I'd go Farley just because Farley has that childlike innocence that Belushi didn't have. That like just adds to like a nice trip. I mean, but Belushi, you know, there were different generations too. But like I will say, Blues Brothers is fantastic.
Yes,
and that's in Blues Brothers 2000 is hot garbage. So, and what's the one big difference? Belushi.
That's what it was exactly.
Yeah.
As much as I love John Goodman, he was not fit for that movie at all. So. All right, how about Clerks 2 or Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
First off, Jay and Silent Bob. First off, Clerks 2 is probably my least favorite Kevin Smith movie, and Jay and Silent Bob reboot might be my favorite Kevin Smith movie. So
wow, that's actually I haven't heard that. That's cool. You're breaking my heart about Clerks 2. Clerks 2 is actually my favorite, I think. But maybe I'll rewatch it at some point. But for me, when I watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot, first I rewatched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and what I noted about it, because Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back had been my favorite Kevin Smith film, but I noted that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, there's a lot of things in it that didn't age well. I feel like a third of the jokes in it were gay panic jokes, which were funny and whatnot. But it's like now that we're all more evolved society, it's like they feel dated. They're of a time, and absolutely.
There was like maybe one gay panic joke in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Jay and Silent Bob reboot works on so many different levels. And it shows his maturity as a human being as well as a filmmaker, and the story just works so well, and also it's a good thing Adam Blavik didn't watch it because they also used the nickname Underhill as the pseudonym in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, but. No, he wouldn't have picked up on that anyway. But that's not a knock against Blavik. I just he missed the Underhill question, and one of the things I noticed while watching Jay and Silent Bob reboot is like, oh, he's specifically using Underhill as the pseudonym here as a Lord of the Rings nod, which is a nice little Easter egg that just never gets put to text in it. The Chris Hemsworth cameo in Jay and Silent Bob reboot is amazing. One of my favorite things, and then But fun story about that. So basically a large reason why Thor took a huge turn between Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok is because Chris Hemsworth is a big Kevin Smith fan. And Chris Hemsworth listens to Kevin Smith's podcast where he was saying, like, oh, Thor's boring. No one cares about Thor. And so Hemsworth went to Feige with that and said, no one likes Thor. What do we do about this? How do we make him more entertaining? And that's when they brought in Taika Waititi.
You turn him into Hercules from the Marvel.
Nice.
Pretty much. Thor and Thor Ragnarok basically is Hercules from the Marvel comics, pretty much. Even some of the dialogue between Thor and Hulk, that's like right from a Hercules Hulk conversation.
Really? I need to go back and read those then.
It's the way Hercules is always basically the strong god with the humor added to it. And he had a little bit of womanizing, a little bit of drinking. That's pretty much what it was. So
yeah, because Hercules has always been the son of Zeus. So.
Oh boy.
Schmoedown, Robin Williams, 100%.
There you go. Robin Williams. Oh yeah, I would agree with that 110%.
I mean, I love Jim Carrey too, but
Robin Williams.
Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Agreed. So I like, this is just a weird anecdote, I guess. The boss that I was working for at the time that Robin Williams died, like I like, as soon as I was at work when I found out that Robin Williams died, and I started to cry, and my boss at the time made fun of me for crying over Robin Williams' death, and I've always been kind of upset about that. Because
you work for that boss anymore?
No.
Oh, good. Send him a bag of dog poop because he's an asshole.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like he
that's legal, right? Just don't mail it or like FedEx it. I think that's the way you do it.
FedEx is very lax. So.
No, I would love to. I'd be totally fine with doing that because he made fun of me the entire day to all of the clients in the salon about how I was crying over Robin Williams dying because he saw me cry over Whitney Houston dying. When Robin Williams died, like, he just took it to a different point, and it's like, I'm so glad I don't work for that person.
He's a horrible human being. That person is.
I know.
People that, like,
really
when celebrities or never pass, like, it's just people you grew up with. They're almost, I mean, they're not family members, but they have just as much influence on, sometimes even more influence than some family members, because you spent your entire life with them. And so I cry when Freddie Mercury passed. That was a fucking mess. I mean, that's
pussy. I'm kidding. I don't like to use that. I don't use that word in normal conversation. It was just a joke thing. Sorry.
That's okay.
I never call anyone that seriously. Of
course not. So, well, I guess actually that's where we're going to end this with that. I just realized it was the last one. I usually bring up last one, but that was the last one. So it's time for questions from the chat, correct?
It is. You are right, Paul. It is time for questions from the chat. So chat, if there are questions that you asked for Craig earlier that we did not get a chance to go into, please make sure you bring those questions back again for Kelsey to bring up on the screen. At this time, while we wait for that, we're going to go ahead and plug what's going on in the coming week is for call to action. So, Paul, I'll let you start with that.
I will. First,
questions in chat.
First, I'll say you get a question in the chat. Also, we do have some Streamlabs that we will get to. So if you have some Streamlabs, we haven't forgotten them. We will get them in there and continue to go to Streamlabs. It's always a great way for us to do them. We'll definitely get those in there as well. But as of the call to the this week on Chill, should we do Schmoebates this week first? Schmoebates is going to be on Wednesday, and it is James White versus Ben Bateman. There's that. That should be a great match. I know Ben is one of the most competitive people I know. So getting him involved in any kind of competition is usually gold, and he takes it very seriously. So that should be awesome.
It's because he's the best, and he's definitely better than Andrew Ghai.
He doesn't, but he has not charisma that Andrew Ghai will have. Andrew Ghai will take over and take. I like it. I work for them.
We can debate about this if you really want, but
it's okay. We have Call Live next week, of course, and then next week on Chilled Action, we are bringing in the lovely future possible Star Wars champion Laura Kelly. Should be in here, and that should be a fun show.
I'm sorry, she's not getting past Andrew DeMolanta.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
Andrew DeMolanta will not miss a question this season.
You think so? After the show he had, I wouldn't doubt it at all.
I believe that.
He is hungry. He wants it. He is
dialed
ready
in.
to go.
Yeah, the only thing people are using to try to knock him down is like, oh, you're studying he knows too much. Oh, he wants it too bad. It's like, no. he's not gonna get into that and let that psych him out.
I hope not. I mean,
He
that's
wants
the only thing that
it for the exchange, and he wants it for himself.
Yep. 100%. This entire Star Wars tournament is probably like the best tournament that we've ever seen in Schmoedown history, because I have not been able to find one person tell me that like it's an all the way clear run for a specific person. Every single match, regardless of how any other match goes, is going to be a head-to-head competition in the Star Wars tournament. This Star Wars tournament is probably the most competitive tournament that we have ever seen inside of the Schmoedown, and I am so much looking forward to this, especially for me, as someone who is not like as deep into Star Wars lore as a lot of other people are inside of the world, inside of this whole fandom, inside of the Schmoedown fandom. I'm probably like numbered like 600 and something when it comes to Schmoedown.
66. So your number six. Your number order is 66.
Thank you. That might have been where my brain has gone into for that. But yes, exactly. Like there's so many more people that are way more into Schmoedown than I am that like are into this tournament. But this tournament is so good, and I cannot wait to see how this whole tournament plays out. No one can expect anything from anyone inside of this tournament. So super
true. Very true. And then final plug, we actually next week after Laura Kelly, we have a week where we're not sure who our guest is yet. We're still working on that. But after that, the Finstock Initiative, Finstock Exchange's Sabrina Ramirez will be making an appearance. So we'll have her on. And
we're talking about future champions. Sabrina Ramirez, future champion.
According to the Barbarian.
The hype is all there. I cannot wait to talk to Sabrina, to talk to her about this hype, because there has been nothing but hype behind her. And that has to be a lot of pressure.
No, it's not pressure, because the hype isn't there because like the hype isn't there to make to like push her forward. The hype is there because that's what we see in her, because that's what she's shown us. We are just externalizing what we know about her.
Dun 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 dun
dun dun dun dun dun dun.
Pressure.
Are you singing Vanilla Ice?
One of us is singing Vanilla Ice. We won't tell you who.
Which is something. Give a hold of me tightly. Feel like a harpoon daily, nightly. Will don't stop. Yo, I don't know. Turn up the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, rock back like a vandal. Let up the stage. I'll jump like a candle. Dead. Crushing, ringing that boom. Killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom, deadly. When I play dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it. You want to make way. You better hit both of the kid don't play. If there's a problem, I solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
Ice baby, dun 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 dun. It's not dun 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 dun. It's dun 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 dun
dun dun.
Exactly.
Very
put it right.
Don't get confused.
Don't get it confused.
Totally different. Totally different.
Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go.
I don't know what are you doing? What is that?
Ninja rap? Ninja rap.
What are you talking about?
TMNT2, one of the greatest.
Is that like a Dynamite thing?
It's a Dynamite thing.
Look, if we're gonna talk Ninja Turtle songs, the only real Ninja Turtle song is the song that Ethan had been using for his walk-up music until we were no longer allowed to use licensed music. It's called Turtle Power by the band Partners in Crime, spelled with a K and a Y.
Yep.
And it's like, I could.
Power, love it.
On the half shell, the heroes fall. They should ask them all. The crime was high with monkeys mysterious. All police and detectives were furious because they can't find the source. Gleefully evil force. No, I'll stop now.
I have it in my ear.
I can't. We'll save it for karaoke night. But
no one is mad at that at all.
All right, Kelsey, you want to hit the Streamlabs first, then we'll hit the chat.
Real quick, I have a super chat that was a while ago. I'm not sure came on screen.
Okay.
Andrew Hale.
Well, thank you, Andrew Hale. You are correct.
On point counts.
Speaking facts. All right, perfect. And when it comes to Streamlabs, we have one from PC who donated asking favorite actors. I love Greta Garbo, Marilyn Monroe, and Jack Lemmon, amongst others.
All right, for me, Jeff Bridges,
Always good.
Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi is probably my number one favorite actor.
Nice.
Tim Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame he's not able to act so much anymore because of his the stroke.
Yeah.
But Bruce Campbell, a longtime favorite of mine, and so I name a fifth favorite actor. So I feel like I'm just like it's the opposite of recency bias. It's the we have Peggy crashed in the chat here. Let me think of what the fifth. You know what? I'm going with Edward Norton. I was a big Edward Norton stan for a while. I know. He people say he's difficult to work with, but God, you realize he was nominated for an Oscar for his first role ever.
Primal Fear.
Yep, and he was nominated for another Oscar like 3 years later, 3 years later, as a lead role. He is fantastic. And Fight Club, fucking Fight Club.
Fight Club's my favorite movie of all time.
Will Davis talks about Bruce Campbell, King of the B movies. So I was at Comic-Con once and waiting in line for like a T-shirt from something or other because at Comic-Con T-shirts is like gold. Like it's like it's what I love about Comic-Con is like it's like 5 days where like reality like disappears. And then it's like, it's like, okay, the most important thing in the world is to get this free T-shirt, even though I could buy a T-shirt because I am a grown-ass man with money. But it's more important for me to get that T-shirt for free. And, so I waited in line for a T-shirt. And Bruce Campbell's at this, I don't know why he was at it was like a Deadpool video game booth. But what Bruce Campbell pointed out to all of us that were nearby was that his character in Spider-Man 2 was a snooty usher who prevented Peter Parker from seeing Mary Jane's play. Mm-hmm. And he said, and because of that, so the snooty usher defeated Spider-Man, making him the only character in Marvel history to have ever defeated Spider-Man.
Something.
Love it.
I love that.
I do love that. Tim Curry has very much played a big role in my life, just in general when it comes to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, and Home Alone too. So
we love you. Get on your knees and tell me you love me. We love you. Good.
Perfect. And then we have another question from Eric Lane. What movie are you afraid to rewatch because of how terrible it may be to you today? I rewatched Time Bandits and Willow, and they were terrible now. I refuse to watch Crawl for this very reason.
First off, how dare you say an unkind word about Willow? I rewatched Willow recently, and it was so good. You just have to like watch it through a different lens. The movie that it's funny because there was a movie that I loved as a child, and I just didn't want to rewatch it because I'd heard for years how awful of a film it was. And we're talking about one of the, this is like one of the people are always talking about being awful, which is Howard the Duck.
Oh.
And so as a child, it was one of my favorites, and I went years and years. But while studying for the IG tournament, I ordered Howard the Duck on Blu-ray off Amazon, and that showed up, and I rewatched it. It's like, you know what? Still good. Still good. Fucking love it. There's a lot of really weird sex stuff in it.
I was about to say, the sex scene holds up.
That wasn't a sex scene. She was being really creepy as a joke, and then she's going to give him a polite kiss goodnight, and then other people walked in and thought they were having sex, which they weren't. No, she didn't fuck the duck, Jake. Anyway. The weirdest, worst part of that movie was like she's going through his wallet, and she pulls out a condom. You realize the condom wasn't in a wrapper? It's just like a fucking loose condom in his wallet. It's like, Why do you have a loose condom in your wallet, Howard? What? How does that work? Anyway, maybe that's how they do things on this planet. I don't know.
In the 80s.
Any more extreme labs, Kels?
Yep, we have one from PC. What's your unpopular opinion? I don't like Star Wars or Ghostbusters. Also walked out of Iron Man and fell asleep 3 times in theaters for The Dark Knight.
All right, PC, get the fuck out of here. That's my fault. I'm kidding. Look, we're all.
Read.
I mean, my biggest unpopular opinion, which has gotten me into a lot of shouting arguments with people, is that Roma is a terrible film. Roma is literally dog shit, and when I say literally dog shit, I mean about a third of the runtime is just dog shit, literally dog shit on the floor. No, I can't. But no, and when my basis off that about talking about how much I dislike Roma is because I appreciate a good narrative, and that film has no narrative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, Coco! I fucking love Coco, PC. How dare you, sir?
I love Coco. Coco is my #1 favorite Pixar movie. And
remember me.
Oh, PC.
I remember me.
PC is just breaking our heart. So
no, seriously, PC breaking some hearts over there.
Yep.
Coco is my favorite.
Or Streamlabs before we go to the regular show.
One more from Mac Daddy. Go to cocktail.
What? What'd you say?
Go to cocktail.
Go to cocktail. So when you say go to cocktail, it's really like a Jack and Diet because it's like that's the easiest thing to remember when you're at the bar. I mean, it's not my favorite cocktail. Paul, do you need to get taken off this?
No, I don't. That's not mine. So that's only Danny's.
Okay. You did like the shoving the pen up your nose.
That's like Danny. When I do it, I'm just saying yes, absolutely. That's
okay. Yeah.
Call sign pen.
Yeah. No, I will say when Sonia and I got married, we had people like a lot of like a very cliche thing for people to do is do like a sand mixing ceremony. Where it's like, and now the sands can never be separated because they've been mixed together. So instead of doing that, we're like, what if instead of sand we mixed a cocktail together? Because like it's a similar concept. It's like, look, the different parts of the cocktail can never be separated once you mix them together and then drink them. So yeah, we like in the middle of our wedding ceremony, we did like a cocktail ceremony where we each had like a cup. Hers represented her tasted alcohol, which was gin and I forget what the red part. So like both of us had like a red in ours. Like one of us had she had like gin and cranberry, and mine had like. She wouldn't let me use whiskey. I think mine was vodka and it was vodka and pomegranate. And then we put a little spritz of Sprite on top and twirled it up. And that was our signature drink at the reception. It was called the Cregonia.
Cregonia.
Yep. So all night long, everyone was drinking Cregonias.
I love that.
It was good.
That's much better than the sand thing. I like that.
So much better than the sand thing. Love that.
No. I know that whole tradition with the lighting of the candles, all of that whole weird sort of thing. So yeah, that I love that.
All right.
Wait. I see PC's got some hot takes in there. I got one thing to say to you, PC. Anyway, it's okay. You're welcome.
Moana is a great movie. Moana is a great movie.
No film that stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is bad. Any film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is good. I don't even care. Even Skyscraper, which sucked but is good.
Which is like
it's good because of him. I feel it.
Die Hard, but it's
San Andreas, which sucked, but it was good.
Because of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Because of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'll agree with that.
Yep.
All right, let's throw it in there.
Perfect. From Faris. Hey, Craig, what is Elvis's hair care regimen to keep that fur so clean and glowing?
Look, I appreciate the question, Fox. Unfortunately, Elvis is very private. He closes the door when he uses the restroom for his his bathing routines. So I never get to see what he's got going on. But whatever it is, and it really attracts my cat Xena Warrior Kitten. If I ever find Elvis lounging around on the couch, I'll sure to be soon finding Xena. Reaching out to him to initiate some we'll just say some bonding.
Would you ever get anything to accompany Xena named Gabrielle?
I don't know. I don't know what. I'm assuming you're talking about no. So here's the thing. Xena is a warrior because she's a warrior. She basically hates anyone and anything that isn't me. So I can't imagine trying to add another pet into the equation, no matter what the name. Xena's writing partner Gabrielle, because I'm pretty sure Xena would just murder it.
Wow. That's what cats do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Magnus has a great question here, to which the answer is The Matrix. Anyway, next question.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done that. I just got kicked down. All right, actually, Magnus had a...
Which movie franchise should just have been a single movie? Actually, no, you know what? So here's the thing. So there's the Matrix, but is one, and then the other would be Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh, I agree.
But the thing with Pirates of the Caribbean is the first one was so good that you can't stop there. But they just should have made better 2 and 3. I will say I do really enjoy Pirates 4, but I feel like Pirates 2 and 3 and 5 were all letdowns.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. Actually, it looks like we lost the stream a little too far back. But Magnus actually had a question from earlier. He had a this or that. He wanted to say Tony Scott or Michael Bay.
Tony Scott, 100%.
And I would agree with that. And cheap plug for me. Beyond my, I'm doing a top 5 Tony Scott movies in about a month with me and Jarvie and Ben Bateman over on Action Industry.
Yeah. So if I get a little more of it, Sonia's grave is actually very close to Tony Scott's grave. So
is it?
Yeah, no, she's buried in Hollywood Memorials, Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and so a very short distance from her grave is the grave of Anton Yelchin and Chris Cornell and Tony Scott and Hattie McDaniel and Mickey Rooney and Johnny Ramone and she's in good company.
Like it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Andrew Hale here. So my favorite movie. So it's fun. So for the longest time, my favorite movie of all time was From Dusk Till Dawn. But I've been considering whether or not Avengers: Infinity War supplants it, because I feel like Avengers: Infinity War, as a standalone film, is just like a fucking masterpiece. And it's like, this is like as a standalone. And then when you take into account that it's, it was numbered 9, it was the 19th in a series of films, in which it completely was able to integrate so many different parts from all these other movies. And, I love Avengers Endgame as well. I feel like Avengers Endgame was my favorite film of 2019, but like Infinity War, you didn't know for sure what was going to happen. Endgame, you're like, all right, well, they're clearly gonna fix this at Endgame. But like in Infinity War, there was the suspense.
Yeah,
and the decision to make Thanos the protagonist of the film, like the main character, like that was fucking ballsy and fucking brilliant.
Great.
And, I would say both of them are like right now they're like a tie for number 1 and then number 2. Well, so they're tied for 1, and then directly below that is Big Lebowski, and then below that is Bottle Rocket, and then below that is Gremlins. So that's my top 5 right there.
Okay, but where does the Hitman's Bodyguard rank?
Very low.
I agree with Craig.
Oh god, my favorite movie that Sonia and I shared together. It's it's interesting to think of because she isn't one that wanted to read. She didn't actually enjoy rewatching movies. Like part of it is she had a photographic memory. So she saw a movie once and she didn't want to see it again. She's like, why do I need to see this again? I already know it. But except for, of course, Indiana Jones films and Star Wars films, she was always willing to see those. So honestly, the question of what my favorite film with Sonia was, probably I'm probably gonna go with Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker, because she, here's the thing: it's not a perfect movie. That franchise was doomed by the fact that, or it's not the franchise. That trilogy was doomed by the fact that it wasn't a trilogy. It was doomed by the fact that Kathleen Kennedy said, "All right, you guys make 3 different movies. They're supposed to connect, but don't worry about it." It was. You don't see MCU making movies that way. That's
right.
all.
Yeah.
But that being said, Sonia and I both watched Episode 9 together in theaters twice. The second time we went and saw it in the IMAX specifically, so we could see the extended Tenet thing. If you guys went before the IMAX, yeah, and it was so great because we got to watch people walk in late and be like, "Am I in the right movie?" Because we were walking in the Tenet scenes playing. They're like, "I bought a ticket for Star Wars," but no, I mean, she and I both had the AMC. Gold or whatever, the ticket stubs, AMC stubs, whatever. The point is that so we were constantly seeing movies two times a week or 5 times a month, whatever. And so it's every movie I saw in the last 10 years, I basically saw with her. And actually, you know what? I'm going to amend my answer to this question and go with the first film that Sonia and I ever saw together, which was probably, thank you, Dean, A-List. The first film Sonia and I ever saw together was Daybreakers. Vampire film with Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe, where it's there's a dystopic future where the vampires have taken over the world. And yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, does anyone know the name in the chat here without cheating? Or here on the screen. Does anybody know the name of Willem Dafoe's character in Daybreakers?
Da na 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 na.
Pull it. I'll know it when you say it, but I can't pull it.
I mean, I only know it because I'm watching it because I see it on IMDb right now. That's how long it took me to pull it up. Anyone else? I get it. I think it's funny.
There's a lot of different guests in the chat.
No correct guesses in the chat.
That's right, Elvis.
It was Elvis. His character was named Elvis.
That's right. I do remember that now. Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
I haven't seen that since it was out. I think, wow. There you go, Elvis. You can't see it.
You can't see it. It's Elvis. No. The correct answer is Elvis.
Correct answer was Elvis. Yes.
Of course, I cheated, Dean.
The second. Well, you know what? I got here. No, you know what? I'm going now with a completely. I'll tell you guys a couple more movies that were special for Sonia and I. The second film Sonia and I watched together in theaters was Legion. We were going with the whole watching kind of cheesy dumb movies in theaters, but also I actually the star of Legion, the female lead of Legion was Adrienne Palicki, who grew up in Toledo, and I grew up with her. Her older brother is actually a friend of mine, Eric Palicki. He's a very talented comic book artist. He and Adrienne actually collaborated on a comic series together as well. I would say it out loud right now, but I'm gonna butcher it. I think it's called Dark Angel. But anyway, point is that so part of the reason why I was like, hey, I'm friends with this girl's brother. Let's watch this movie, and it was a ton of fun. But then, but Sonia's favorite movie. So Sonia was a huge Harrison Ford fan. That's why when you asked about Han Solo versus Indiana Jones, it's funny because like she loved both of them equally, but I think that her favorite Harrison Ford character was Deckard from Blade Runner.
Nice.
She loved the original Blade Runner, but she loved Blade Runner 2049. I think maybe a little bit more. And for me, it's like that was my favorite film of. Ooh, hold on, I had too much to drink to go with my movie release dates. I'm gonna say, wait. Oh, actually, no, I do remember what year it came out. Wait, what month was it? I remember that the Blade Runner 2049 thing was at Comic-Con 2017, which means that it either came out in late 2017 or early 2018. So I'm gonna say it was a 2017 release, right?
That's correct. 2017.
Yeah.
My favorite movie.
Yeah.
Release?
What'd you say?
I'm because the way that I always focus movies on are like relationships on my end. So like the last relationship that I can remember being in while I watched 2049, I felt like it was in 2018, but 2017 makes sense. I guess.
It was released 2017, but you didn't rush out to the theaters to see it, did you?
I kind of did, but I'm also not like I need to know every single exact date when I watch a movie. So.
Yeah. I apologize if we made you cry, Danny. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I cry every single time, so
it's at least once per stream. So
yeah.
Zena, come here. Zena, come here.
So that's really gonna make me cry.
Come here, Zena. Come here.
Come on, Kenny.
While he gets his cat, I have to let my dog out of this room because he's not.
Wait, who's letting the dogs out?
No, I have to let my dog.
Let the dogs out. Woof, woof.
Woof, woof, woof. Yes, because my dog claws on my door to let him either in or out, and he's in the room right now, and he wants out. So BRB.
Okay.
We're gonna get Zena. All right.
Oh.
There's Zena.
I want my face already.
Where? Yeah. Hope that they
every stream.
All right. Danny wants to know.
Oh, okay. I need a trimmer nails. Anyway, so Danny, my answer to your question of how does it feel to be that awesome and that same way terrifying, I would say there's only one other person who knows, and that's you, Danny. Here's my friend. What time is it in BST right now, Danny?
He's 1 hour ahead of us, I want to say.
BST is what I refer to as Brazilian Standard Time.
He's 2:30, I want to say. That's my guess.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually know what time it is. I was trying to do a joke. I'm going to have another chocolate here. It's my salted caramel little chocolates.
It's
there we go, 2:32 BST. Damn it, they child-proof my chocolates again.
Alex has a question about the wheel. Should the Pirates franchise be added to IG?
I mean, look, here's the thing. There are a number of film franchises that could be added to IG. So, you want to add Pirates? I mean, if you're going to add Pirates, what else are you going to add? I mean, like I'm all for adding more. I honestly feel that anything science fiction or fantasy should be fair game in IG. That's my opinion. But I'm fine with the IG the way it is. But it's
I totally agree. I like that.
Yeah.
I got one you missed, I think. All right, after this one, do this one first.
Okay. Which MCU character should appear in Deadpool 3?
Spider-Man.
Oh.
That would be fun.
I go with that.
I like that.
Should they use
who would play off best against Deadpool?
I'm
trying to think here. What we got?
Should they go with the X-Men? Should they try to do it? Should they try to bring the X-Men?
Wait, real quick. The Schmoedown is trying to say that Pirates is not sci-fi or fantasy. There are ghost pirates in the film.
Agreed.
Pirates in the film.
Clearly fantasy.
Well, yeah.
The whole ghost movie in the franchise.
I agree with
a whole movie about being ghosts in the franchise.
I like the notion of Thor and Deadpool interacting. Dean Morgan says Gambit, but Gambit is not currently in the MCU. I mean, yeah, I feel like who is the MCU's version of Colossus?
I can't be.
This is a Paul question. This very much could possibly be a Kelsey and Paul question,
Yes.
but like this is not a Danny question.
I wasn't asking you, Danny.
Thank you. If we would have like figured out like who is this person in the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire world, could have possibly figured that out. But
well, maybe if they ever made a movie out of it, we could talk about Game of Thrones. But we're not. This is not the movies and HBO trivia Schmoedown. This is the movie trivia Schmoedown. So Game of Thrones, GOT
can suck is what I'm trying to say.
So what I'm trying to say is GOT can GTFO.
GTFO, there you go. Perfect.
GTFO.
I don't know who would be a Colossus of character.
Colossus is such a good leader. Like that's like what his like main role is. I'm trying to think of who currently that's still around in the MCU.
I mean, like Captain America is kind of the Colossus role, but
yeah, but that was my thought too.
but spoiler alert.
I guess you could. Nah, I don't want to say go Falcon, but maybe Falcon. Maybe I guess go Winter Soldier if you got him up. Maybe. Well, maybe
not.
Here's my final answer. Drax the Destroyer.
Oh,
okay.
Well, good.
You want to see Deadpool interact with Drax the Destroyer? Oh my fucking god! That is 3 hours of comedy gold.
It could just be them sitting in a room talking to each other, and it would be entertaining.
I think Star-Lord would be fun. I think him and Star-Lord would actually be kind of fun too. You have them move back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I would watch a 3-hour film of just Drax the Destroyer and Deadpool, like no other characters, just those two. It would be fucking amazing.
All right, I got one question from before you missed the spillway. Question: who'd win a battle, RoboCop or Terminator? And also, we see you dip your toes in the team division.
I mean, I'm planning on being in this team's tournament that's coming up, so hopefully that's a thing. You know, there's only so many teams allowed per faction, but fortunately, my faction has the team champion, so they're not going to be in the tournament.
Right.
And they've got a team that's already kind of in the line to possibly get a number one contendership, so they're not probably going to be in the tournament. So or maybe they will be. I don't know. But point is, me and my surprise teammate, whoever he or she may be, plan to take the team's tournament by storm.
Fair enough. All right, Kels, back to you.
All right.
Hey, wait, was there a first half of that question though? I think he.
Terminator versus RoboCop.
Oh yeah, Terminator versus RoboCop.
100% Terminator. Look, I'm a Detroit guy, so RoboCop has a special place in my heart, but the Terminator is fucking relentless.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Agreed.
I'd agree.
Yeah. And PC says, also don't like any Lord of the Rings movies. I tried.
Try harder, PC. Try harder. They're great.
They're amazing. All right.
They're good.
Questions. I think they're all gone. If you did send one that disappeared, please send it back to me.
Are you not entertained?
Hey, last one. Is that it, guys?
I would like to ask a question to Craig after this. Go.
Did you want to favorite horror movie? Is it Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, which is a classic?
You know, God, there are so many great horror films, and it's just a matter of like, I mean, what sticks in my mind right now in terms of like what's probably the best horror film ever made was Get Out. Just for various reasons, but it's like there's so many other just fantastic. And what's great about good horror films is that because bad horror films can be so just kind of generic, that good horror films can really just raise the bar.
Yeah.
I will say the most scared I've ever been watching a film in a theater was probably watching The Ring when it came out in theaters. I watched it opening weekend, and when she crawls out of the TV, the entire theater freaked the fuck out. Like we talk about like the reason to go to the reason why I don't think theaters will ever die is because watching a movie in a theater is a communal experience.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
Yeah, and watching a horror film opening weekend when none of you know what's going on and you all just freak the fuck out when that girl crawls out of the TV.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good choice there.
All right.
I agree, 100%.
To everyone, what is your favorite karaoke song to sing?
All right, so Paul's favorite karaoke song to sing is going to be, I'm going to say, so you're a big Queen fan, but you don't have a good range. So I'm going to say you're, I'm going to say you're going to go with I Want to Break Free.
Actually, I probably do Crazy Little Thing Called Love because it's easy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you're right.
Craig, can I tell you something really quickly about Paul?
Nope.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah. So Kelsey's favorite karaoke song is probably going to be, you look like you like country. Do you like country?
No.
All right, sorry. I was
Not at all.
way off with that one.
I'm like a Marilyn Manson, Evanescence.
All right, I was going to say, fortunately, I didn't know the names of any country songs anyway, so it helps out that you don't actually like country. Let's see here. I'm going to go with your favorite song to sing. It's probably Paramore, right? You're a big you like Paramore?
I do like Paramore, but I can't hit her range, so I don't even attempt it. But I love Paramore.
All right, well, what's your incorrect answer then?
My go-to, honestly, is doing cheesy Spice Girls and stuff because I am a poor singer, so I might as well make a fool of myself while I do it. So,
there's nothing cheesy about the Spice Girls. They're a national treasure, even though they're from
Thank you.
The UK.
I love the Spice Girls.
Thank you.
They just stand for positivity.
Yep.
You know, what's so hard to see about that? All right, Danny, your favorite karaoke song? I'm gonna go with Taylor Swift.
Oh man.
And you're gonna go with "You Belong to Me" by Taylor Swift.
It's almost there. I feel like my go-to karaoke song is "Stay" by Lisa Loeb. So,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I feel like that '90s transition into the after aughts into the 2010s and stuff would be a Taylor Swift transition. So yeah. So
for me, my actually the first song that I ever really excelled at karaoke that got people interested in my karaoke was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. It's funny, in between when I met Dagnino and when he ended up drafting me, at one point I went to I was in a karaoke contest. I made it to the finals. For my finals performance, I did Bohemian Rhapsody, and I posted the video on my Facebook page, and Christian tagged Dagnino in the comment section of it to make sure he saw that, to make sure that Dagnino knew. Make sure that Dagnino knew. But yeah, no. Other than that, honestly though, the actual God, I got so many crazy karaoke stories, but my favorite karaoke story is the time I got a standing ovation from Lance Bass, and it was for my performance of "It's All Coming Back to Me Now" by Celine Dion. And the funny was, when I first started singing that song, the bar wasn't paying attention to me at all. The bar was just kind of doing their own thing, but by the time the song was over, I'd captured the attention of the entire bar, and someone from Lance Bass's table came up and brought me I don't know where they got the fucking rose from, but someone from Lance Bass's table came up and delivered me a rose in the middle of the song, and then when I was done, his entire table gave me a standing ovation, except for two people at his table that did not stand, which were Jamie Lynn Sigler and Jerry Ferrara from fucking Turtle from Entourage.
Yeah, fuck those people.
Those assholes didn't stand while the rest of them did. But you know what? It doesn't matter because the only important one was Lance fucking Bass. Has anyone else here gotten a standing ovation from a fucking NSYNC member for their karaoke? I think not.
I don't think you're right.
We have never had anyone more important on this show right now until this very moment, finding out that Craig Gaynier got a standing ovation from Lance Bass from NSYNC. No one else who has ever been on the show can put that much hype on this. I don't care what anyone says.
Real quick, Danny Carvalho wants me to sing some Rammstein for you.
Definitely.
I love him.
I want to sing a different one.
Okay.
everyone knows Duhas, which I think is like with
It is.
I don't remember how it goes. Here, I'll just play it on my phone and I'll start singing it. Let me know if you can hear this while I play it.
Okay.
Angel. It's called Angel.
Okay.
Technically, it's the German title is Engel.
Engel.
E instead of an A.
Angle.
We have to talk a little bit over YouTube because of the whole YouTube thing with music. So I might just talk over it a little bit.
And sometimes we do convert this over to audio podcast. For anyone who is listening to us on an audio podcast,
I'm not playing the actual version. I'm playing the karaoke version of it.
Oh,
there
you go. Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Let me see if it plays. There we go.
Warm too. All right, I love that. All right. Okay.
Ooh. All right. I got confused for a second. All right. Back to League-Side Gut auf Erden. Wer nach dem Tod ein Engel werden?
There you go.
Den Blick gen Himmel fragst du dann, warum man sie nicht sehen kann.
Hey.
Wenn die Wolken schlafen gehen, kann man uns am Himmel sehen. Wir haben Angst uns in der Leid.
That's right.
Gott weiß, ich will kein Engel sein. All right, we'll stop it there.
Yes, grab side.
Yeah, I was trying to do the ad libs for it. So.
Gott weiß, ich will kein Engel sein.
Sorry.
It means God knows I don't want to be an angel.
That's awesome.
Very cool. All right. Non-sports movie quote. Best applies to Schmoedown.
Oh, we're still doing this.
Yeah, I feel like we missed some questions before, but I'll answer this one. What best non-sports movie quote best applies to Schmoedown?
Do or do not. There is no try.
So, sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar, it eats you.
Fair enough. There you go. I like that.
Yeah, that is the definition of the Schmoedown.
Good call.
I like that one.
Excluding Ash.
This is what I wanted to answer earlier. My favorite Bruce Campbell performance. That's a fantastic question. So, honestly, my favorite Bruce Campbell performance, excluding Ash, was from a TV show, not a movie. So, but I'll give my TV show answer, and then I'll come up with a movie answer. But TV-wise, my favorite Bruce Campbell performance is Briscoe County Jr. It's a fantastic show. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if you can find Briscoe County Jr., go back and watch it. It's fucking fantastic. And then film-wise, God, he is, I would say, chronically underutilized as a film actor. And so, to my mind right now, coming out, I want to do something that isn't Sam Raimi, so I'm going to go with Escape from L.A., where he plays the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills, who's always like this deformed plastic surgeon guy who's trying to, he's he's only a little bit of a minor character in the film, but it's a really great scene.
He's great. Bubba Hotep might be man. I like Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, another Elvis film.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, another Elvis film.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, what was the transfer over like from studio to virtual matches in your rookie year?
it wasn't that difficult because I'd been doing, streams from home with, people like Video Drew, like doing the Video Chronic quiz was essentially what we're doing here. But it was a little disappointing because, tape days for the Schmoedown are they were my favorite days of the month, because I mean, I don't know if people have talked openly about tape days and whatnot. It's like, we tape like 7 or 8 episodes in a day, but like, the audience there is just like the other Schmoedown people. And so you're just spending the whole day hanging out and drinking and like getting to know each other, and then afterwards we go drink some more, and it's just like it's just such a amazingly fun communal environment, and that's like I really miss having that. But in terms of just being able, competing from home instead of there, it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't change my recall at all. I'm comfortable doing it here. I'm just comfortable in the studio. I just miss the fun. And the fun, like, so I went to 3 like this. There were only 3 tape days this year before we got shut down. I went to all 3 of them, and like across the 3 tape days, I did like I had 1 match, but I also did like 3 pre-taped scenes, and I did a like my crashing of Jader's post-match interview, and it's just like and all like the only thing and honestly none of those, like not even the match did I know was going to happen when I went in. It was like all these things were just because I was there, like hey, you ready to do a match? Like, sure. Hey, you want to do a scene? Sure. Like it was just it's like you never know what's going to happen. I show up in costume, I show up in character, and they're like, all right, hey, you ready? You want to do something? It's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I believe that is all what we have for chat questions. I think we've answered them.
Okay.
I think there were some more chat questions. Let me look through and make sure there were any more.
Go through.
They do disappear. So if they were further back than like a few minutes ago, sometimes they're gone.
Yes.
So if we didn't answer any question, then you can throw it in the chat again. We'll definitely get to it.
So Peggy says she only knows Du Hast, which is a crying shame. First off, just listen to the entire Sensucht album. The Sensucht album is fantastic, including the song Sensucht. Sensucht versteckt durch wie ein Insekt. It's a fantastic album. And let's see here. We got Tom stuff.
While you're doing that, I can't be in the chats anytime that this happens, but anytime Jarvie shows up in the chat, I always want to throw out a big Jarvie. Yeah, but I can't. So big shout out to Jarvie that's in the chat.
Love a Jarvie.
I don't know what a Jarvie is.
A Jarvie is...
That's a Jarvie.
Yes. So that's a Jarvie.
He's
Cheers, Jarvie.
Here's Jarvie.
I thought it was pronounced Harvey.
It's actually Jarvie.
Oh.
Jarvie. I'm gonna call him Harvey on the next show.
Jarvie.
Me and Richard Jarvie do a show on Action Industries channel called Class Action. He's a great guy. So, but I'm gonna call him Harvey on the next stream, I think. Yes.
So big shout out to Jarvie
or Harvey.
Oh, we have a question here from the French sponsor. What is the airspeed velocity of an unrelated swallow? And my answer is African or European.
I don't know. There you go. Perfect. Can we shout out Whiskers? Sure. Whiskers!
Shout out to Meowthana.
Meowthana, yes. Ferris. Ferris, who asked the question earlier. That's his call sign in the Action Army.
Call sign Whiskers. Yes. Craig, I'm not sure if you know this. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but this is a call to action podcast. All of that started because we are a very headstrong Action Army podcast. We have been Team Action since day one. Since they started.
The Action Army?
Exactly. What is the Action Army?
I'm kidding.
No. That's a great question.
I'm friends with Ben Bateman. I know what the Action Army is. Okay?
No, exactly. And that is my whole point between it is because
I can't believe you ungrateful ingrates call him a traitor.
Well, you know what? Andrew Ghai, mind his own business. He's trying to save Ben from the table. He tries to knock it's
He's waving you away.
In Houston, he's trying to give Ben a chair to sit down after the match.
How dare you? First of all, how dare you? The Action Army has been here since day one, and we will always be here.
True. Very true. We roll deep.
We do roll deep. All right, Kelsey, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So.
Yes, Paul, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Right? It's been a great time.
It has been such a wonderful time. Mr. Craig, my dear friend, how are you feeling right now?
I've been better.
Oh,
okay.
Well.
I'm kidding.
Somebody had bed.
I'm kidding. I'm having a great time. What are you saying? God, you people take me so seriously.
No, that's what we do here on the Chilled Action
We just go along with it. We just go along with you.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
we go along.
Yes,
we are a very yes and podcast here on this channel. So yes, and thank you so much to everyone who has been inside of the chat. Thank you so much for everyone who has hung out with us on this Monday night. We know that Mondays are a little hard for a few people, and we have always been grateful for you on this 40th episode of Chill to Action. Thank you so much to everyone who has hung out with me and Paul during this whole 40 times, doing this whole thing, hanging out with Kelsey, hanging out with Billy, hanging out with everyone who has been involved in Call to Action and Chill to Action. So thank you so much for this number 40th episode. Craig, thank you.
Hey.
Those are Gremlins references.
That was a Gremlins.
I loved it so much.
That's pretty good. That's actually very good. I like
that. I've been practicing that for 35 years.
for the 40th episode of Call to Action, obviously. Yeah. So thank you so much to everyone who is hanging out with us inside of the chat. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Craig. Paul, let us know where we can find you.
You can find me here usually every week. You can also find me running the Team Action Patreon. Ben and Drew got a lot of cool things coming up, so get in there and get on those chats. Get that general chat with the rest of us crazy people. You can also find me on the Action Industries YouTube channel with Richard Eric Harvey, doing Class Action, a show we do every week, Saturdays. And also you can find me on PLD Projects, the channel I just started, where I will soon be starting the Harris Dance, where I'm going to take you through every movie that my favorite actor Ed Harris has been in, and I'm going to make you love him as much as I do, if that's possible.
That is
challenge awesome. Declined.
Not an Ed Harris fan? I'll be very sad.
No. I love Ed Harris. I just don't want to watch all of his movies.
I get it. That's all right. I get that.
Paul has. If you have any question about Paul's alliance.
I loved Pollock.
He directed it too, right? He directed it and he got an acting nom for it. And,
acting nomination. Marcia Gay Harden won the supporting actor.
Exactly, of course. 2000.
Yeah, and the only reason why I know about all of that
2000.
In the year 2000.
One of 2 Ed Harris directed movies, and he's working on a 3rd. So.
And my favorite Conan O'Brien skit growing up. Yes, 100%.
Year 2000.
Yes. What are you talking about?
In the year 2000.
What?
Wait, what?
I wish I had like a black robe and like a lighted collar for that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either.
Exactly. In the year 2000.
In the year 2000. I'm making a joke. It's just a funny joke.
That was a great funny. Please give Craig that funny, because that is the second to that. So yes, absolutely, 100%. Kelsey, let us know where you're at, my sweet babe.
All right, you can find me at Kelsey. You can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. Also on the Call to Action Podcast Instagram, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we've got merch. Schmoedown's got merch. Get your stuff. I don't think there's a sale currently going on, but I got an email. There's one coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And I do have my own YouTube channel that is kind of on hiatus right now, but I'm working on things. So subscribe. Just look up Kelsey Kirkland and click on my picture.
There you go.
That is right, y'all. And on my own personal YouTube channel, if you find me anywhere, you can click on my name, go to my YouTube channel. The first video that will probably be up there is my Lost Stars reaction with Paul Denizio right over here. So I'm reading Lost Stars currently. The book is somewhere around me. I can't find it, but it is a book review. It is a book podcast. That is usually what I will do on my own channel. Over there is book reviews and stuff like that. So you can find me on Danielle Ramirez on YouTube, all of that good stuff. You can also always find me here every Monday on the Call to Action Network, hosting Chill to Action with my favorite co-host Paul Denuzio and Miss Kelsey Kirkland, hanging out behind the scenes with your favorite Schmoedown competitors, such as Craig Gaynier right over here. So find me here every Monday. You can also find me on Twitter at Danny Joy, DANNIEEJOY.
Yeah, I was gonna say you misspelled that.
Every week, every single week. It does not matter. I mess it up. I'd say NN, but it's DANIEEJOY on Twitter. You can find me there always for sure. And Craig, let us know where we can find you. Anything that you have coming up, let us know. Plug it, my dude. Plug it.
Well, first off, Nerd Chronic's back in the chat. Nerd Chronic, if you're still there, do you just chime in that, or did you go away? Nerd Chronic, your proof of life. Are you still in there?
You should be.
Nerd,
that was
Nerd Eric, Nerd Chronic. Anyway, the reason why I bring it up is because Eric, we have a request. PLD and I want to perform in a Video Chronic Bohemian Rhapsody quiz. So you'll be able to find me beating Paul's pansy ass.
Wow, he thinks.
I'm sorry, candy ass. I'll be beating Paul's candy ass on the Video Chronic Bohemian Rhapsody episode as soon as Eric Nerd Chronic gets on it.
We'll try.
No, we're not doing Rock and Man instead. We're doing Bohemian Rhapsody.
God damn it. Yeah,
God
Dean.
damn it, Dean. Anyway,
Dean.
My most recent episode of the Schmoedown premiered this past Thursday. Go check it out. 24 hours have been expired, so I can confirm that I will. Well, yeah. But technically, we wanted to do a Queen quiz, but we wanted it to be a movie quiz. So Bohemian Rhapsody is basically how we're doing it. I think Danny's dead. But Danny,
I I completely fell.
Danny just fell off screen in the middle of that.
That was pretty funny.
And yes, it is a Queen quiz. And what's wrong with that, Eric?
I'll do a Queen quiz. I'll do a full-on Queen quiz if you want, Eric. If you want to raise on a full Queen quiz, I'll take it.
No. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, just Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay.
Anyway, point is, I got the Schmoedown thing. Went online Thursday. Me versus Adam the Haymaker Alavic.
Yes.
If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. It's a great match. I will say I was very honored to go up against a legend in the division in Adam Lovick. Look, his showing at Comic-Con last year was, to say subpar would be an understatement. It was catastrophic. He fought back, and it was a really fun, great match we had, and I just want people to watch it if they have not yet. My next match will be against the winner of Janine the Machine and John Humphrey. And I know who the winner is because we already taped our match, but I can't tell you because their match hasn't aired yet.
Correct.
But I believe that match will air probably in like 4 weeks because they're doing 2 matches per week, and we have 6 more matches left in the first round.
Yep.
So look for me there, and hopefully I'll win that match and then continue on to the tournament. I'd love to play more because I get bored very easily. And I can also be found, I can be found on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Barbarian Craig. I occasionally get angry and espouse left-wing political information, political opinions. But normally I keep it to being nice and friendly, trivia Schmoedown stuff. I'm also on Instagram with the handle CF Gaynier. My last name is Gaynier, Gaynier. C to the Craig, to the F, to the Franklin Gaynier, CF Gaynier. Anyway, and then I can also be found on Twitch. Friday nights, if I don't have anything else going on, I jump onto Video Drew Karaoke. I fucking love it. Karaoke is one of my passions. While I partake in Video Drew's karaoke, I just also live stream it on my own Twitch channel so people can see my my head banging and my hair flipping around and all that stuff. And then I occasionally I'll chat with people in my channel. Danny, are you 4 White Claws in?
I try.
Are you 4 White Claws in, Danny? You look like you're 4 White Claws in. Oh, you're trying to do no, Danny. Let me show you how it's done.
Thank you. Please show me how it's done, please. Let's watch this because I can't like.
Hold on. No, my hair's not behaving right now. Give me a second.
I'm trying.
It's really not that hard.
Okay, let's do this. Wait. Right?
Right? Ready?
Ready?
Right? Okay.
3, 2, 1.
You gotta throw your hands out. You gotta throw your arms out.
You throw your arms out. You do the head. You do the hair first. Then you do the arms out. Don't throw that weak shit out here.
Bookshop, but I definitely did.
Can we get a hair stream next? What? Hair metal band? Let's fucking do it.
I love that.
Do this, yes.
You know what we need to do? Danny, do you do karaoke as well?
Yes. I'm not opposed to it. I can't get the karaoke app for Twitch to work on my computer. That's the only thing that has held me back from Video Drew because I've been a fan of Video Drew for a long time. My karaoke Twitch.
PLD, can you teach her how to use a computer, please?
I can try. I'll do my best. I've been trying for about 10
years.
What
I will do, then Twitch, it allows you to like do a duet by like one of you like records it and then the next one records the other half. So it's like I'll find a good hair metal thing and I'll do a duet for it and then I'll tell you where to find it and you can do your duet. So we can both whip our hair back and forth. Oh, maybe we'll do I whip my hair back and forth. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. There's a lot of words to that song.
Anything, Craig. I wouldn't be mad at anything that happens for that. So
yeah. Perfect.
There we go. Anyway, so my Twitch handle is Mogwai417. I'm a big Gremlins fan, hence the Mogwai. My birthday was April 17th, hence the 417. So Mogwai417 on Twitch. If you'd like to watch me awkwardly wait for my turn in karaoke and occasionally chat with the people in my chat. Oh no! Are you kidding me? Look, even though I'm a Detroit person, "Picture by Kid Rock" is such a bad song. What we should really do, we want to do a real duet. It's fucking Mannequin. Nothing's gonna stop us now. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
We can do this thing together, and enough forever. Nothing's gonna stop us
now.
If this world runs out of time, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
I got it, but like
all that I ever need. All that I ever do.
It's there, but it's not quite there. So let me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm singing both parts.
Work up to it, and then we'll get there for sure. Sure. So thank you so much.
Claws, that's what you need.
That's what I need.
Oh, you guys were singing Under Pressure. Okay, which half of Under Pressure can you do?
I do Freddie.
No, I was talking to Danny. I know you do Freddie.
Sorry.
Look, I'll say Freddie because I feel like Paul takes the easy part of it.
You really think I took the easy part of it? Come on. You think Freddie is hard enough?
I didn't realize there's a Detroit City Football Club. I did not know that. What movie is from Nothing Going to Stop Us Now? I called action. No, I said that when I started singing. It's from Mannequin.
Mannequin.
Love that movie.
That's a good movie.
Yep. The 80s had a bunch of fucked up movies. Like the one where a dude fucks a mannequin. Like,
yo, the 80s were wild. If there's anything,
how about that movie where
anything.
two people pretend like the corpse they have is alive?
We get a birdie, and there's a sequel to it.
Corpse
There's a
is
sequel to it. That makes it even worse.
Oh yeah, no, a rotting corpse.
Right.
And they dance with voodoo. Like, what the fuck?
That's what I thought too. You have the whole walking corpse is one thing, and then somebody out there goes, "You're gonna have a sequel to it." So the corpse will have another.
So what about this? They haven't buried him yet. What the fuck?
This is a quick
80s,
preview.
be better, 80s. Be better.
This is a quick preview of what we talk about after we cut off from live. Because usually we cut off right now and we have these conversations that go on for a few minutes, and this is what
I know, because I've never been on this before. So
That's true. So Greg's running on
exactly. Yes.
I say whatever I want, whenever the fuck I want.
That's all good by us. That's fine.
And none of us are mad at that at all. At all. But that is it that we have for everyone who is watching this live stream. Thank you so much, Craig. Please continue to hang out with us after we cut off this live stream. Thank you to every single so needy. Yes,
you have no idea
about Danielle Ramirez. Yes, you have no idea. Yes, super needy. Thank you so much to everyone who has hung out with us here on this Monday night. We genuinely appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming out to the Call to Action podcast. Please come back to us next week. Paul, who do we have next week?
Somebody not as is this week.
That's true.
Laura Kelly.
Laura Kelly. We have Laura Kelly coming in next.
Laura Kelly, but I mean, let's face facts. Next week will be a down episode.
I don't know how drunk we're gonna get with Laura Kelly on the next week, but we shall see.
She loves a fireball.
We're gonna find out.
Maybe I'll get a fireball.
Get y'all's fireball ready.
We shall see. But for everyone hanging out with us here tonight, we love you so much. We appreciate you. And as always, thank you so much. And as always, y'all, we salute you. I'm going to let Paul hit end.